Would you join me in prayer, please? Our Father in heaven, we give thanks and rejoice in this day. We bless you in this moment for the hard work of administration and staff, teams, and sponsors, and all those unknown to us who've worked to make this competition and 75th celebration a reality. Because teams and talents have come together in this community, God, to bring this exciting competition to the world, we now ask that we find joy in knowing that you're keeping us all in the safety of your care. Protect us. For this and all things we give you glory and count it done. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome the Virginia Military Institute Glee Club.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for some NASCAR Xfinity Series racing at the Martinsville Speedway for the running of the Call811.com Before You Dig 250. And we have another short track race for you on the season. Back-to-back short track races for the Xfinity Series. They had an off week for Easter last week, and they did not race on Bristol Dirt, but they did run on a 3/4 mile short track at Richmond. In that race, Chandler Smith got his first career win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, locking himself into the playoffs. He is the 4th Xfinity Series regular to do so far this season, and it'll be very interesting to see if that will be the case going forward this year. If he can add some more wins, he may be a threat to win again today. We'll just have to wait and see. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. This is the second race this weekend of a live commentary slate. Triple header for NASCAR, all 3 series racing at Martinsville. The truck race was last night. Started a little later, not until about 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then they had a rain delay in the middle of the race, and then they ended up finally getting the finish of the race in, but unfortunately it wasn't under its scheduled distance. It was rain shortened, but we were up very late last night till about midnight. Luckily, it wasn't an early start for today's race, though. It was a late start, obviously, with the Xfinity race being under the lights as well at Martinsville. Cup race, though, will be during the day. There is no more inclement weather scheduled for this weekend at Martinsville, so we should get all 250 laps in today and all 400 laps in tomorrow. We'll check out the point standings for the NASCAR Xfinity Series coming into this race this season. Austin Hill is still your regular season points leader. He has a 12-point lead over Riley Herbst, who is showing out this season for the Xfinity Series with 6 top 10s already this year, along with 2 top 5 finishes. But Austin Hill, also the most winningest driver in the Xfinity Series, as well as the regular season points leader. 3 wins, 3 top 5s, and 6 top 10s this season, just the 1 DNF. 3 stage wins for Austin Hill as well. The other drivers with a win that have locked themselves into the playoffs, as mentioned moments ago, Chandler Smith won in the last race at Richmond. John Hunter Nemechek won all the way back at Auto Club, and Sammy Smith got his first win at Phoenix. So 4 Xfinity regulars have gone to victory lane this season. 1 Cup regular has won an Xfinity race. That was EJ Allmendinger at COTA. So we'll see if we can get that 5th driver locked in. Only 12 spots are available for the playoffs of the Xfinity Series, and we still have a long season to go. So if we get more than 12 different winners, those drivers could end up having to try to point their way in, even with a win so far this year, except for Austin Hill, who has multiple wins. But he is the only driver to have multiple wins in the NASCAR Xfinity Series so far this season. We'll go through the starting lineup for today's race once we get back from the commercial break and they give the command to fire engines. As far as the bubble coming into today's race for the playoff for the Xfinity Series, Parker Kligerman is the last driver, and he is a 13-point cushion over Ryan Sieg, who was the first driver out of the playoffs. Brandon Jones, who has had an abysmal start this year. No top 10 finishes for him with his new team at Junior Motorsports through the first 7 races, and he is 27 points below the cutoff line despite no top 10 finishes. So very fortunate he's still within somewhat of a striking distance. Daniel Hemrick this year has kind of struggled, although he does have 4 top 10 finishes. He does only have an 18-point cushion above that cutoff line on Ryan Sieg and Brandon Jones as well. So we'll look out for those drivers throughout the course of today's race. They're going to need some solid points days if they can't get to victory lane at all in the regular season. They're definitely struggling to get anywhere close to that in the early going of the year. 72 degrees is the air temp for today's race. Only 5 degrees, or 5 mile per hour wind, so very, very light there. It is going to be strictly on the drivers to try to make passes around the track today. In the Fox Sports 1 booth, you got Adam Alexander, Brad Keselowski, and Joey Logano this weekend. Again, the race on FS1 for anybody wondering where you can watch the race this weekend. Thomas, Bond 1771, Wade Selensky, Doran Davis, Billy Kramer, Juanita Luna, Weather Expert Gaming, and others, welcome into the stream. We've got just about 50 people watching right now already. Again, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. This should be a fun race today. Martinsville, one of my favorite racetracks personally, and I'm sure we're going to get another solid race today. It was kind of a wreck fest in last year's spring race at Martinsville. In fact, Brandon Jones actually did win the spring race last season, so maybe he can try to get his first top 10 of the season today. You'd have to imagine he'd have a good chance. Was running up front late before getting dumped by his teammate Ty Gibbs and the closing laps of the fall race as well. Alrighty. And it looks like they are about to send it down to get the command. Also, oh yeah, I kind of forgot the Dash for Cash was a thing right now in the Xfinity Series. 4 drivers running for the Dash for Cash this weekend. John Hunter Nemechek, Josh Berry, Justin Allgaier, and Chandler Smith. All of them starting in the top 11. Allgaier won the first week of the Dash for Cash at Richmond 2 weeks ago, so he automatically was able to get back into this one. None of the Dash for Cash drivers even had a top 10 finish last week. The only reason Allgaier qualifies still for this week is because he did win, and then there was the top 3 finishers as well from last week that qualified for this week's Dash for Cash. That will continue through Talladega, so the top 3 finishers in today's Dash for Cash winner will have a shot for $100,000 again next week as well.
It's here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome USDOT Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration's Deputy Administrator Tristan Brown and Education Manager of North Carolina 811, Ann Rushing.
Drivers, start your engines!
Engines are firing, and we are getting set for the start of tonight's NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Let's take a look at your starting lineup for this one. Cole Custer on the pole here today for Stewart-Haas Racing, just as his Cup Series teammate Ryan Preece was able to qualify on the pole. So SHR coming to Martinsville with some fast cars in the Xfinity in the Cup Series this weekend. He'll be going for his first win since dropping back full-time in the Xfinity Series again this year. John Hunter Nemechek with a win already in the bank, looking for his second of the season tonight. He is my pick to win today's race as well. We'll see how he'll do. Sheldon Creed and Parker Retzlaff will be in row 2. Great start for that Jordan Anderson Racing 31 team. And Sheldon Creed still looking for his first career Xfinity Series win. Sam Mayer and Josh Berry will start in row number 3, the highest running Chevrolets for Junior Motorsports coming into this race through qualifying. Berry close to a win at Richmond a couple weeks ago. Already has a win in his career in the Xfinity Series here at Martinsville. He'll definitely be a threat. Sammy Smith and Justin Allgaier will line up in row 4. Again, Allgaier trying to go for the Dash for Cash for the second straight race, and Sammy Smith looking for his second win in the early going of his rookie Xfinity Series season. He won at Phoenix about a month ago. Riley Herbst and Brandon Jones will start inside the top 10 back in row number 5. Jones won the spring race at Martinsville last season, and Riley Herbst in the 98 Second in points coming into today's race, looking to potentially take the points lead away from Austin Hill. He's only 12 points back. Chandler Smith and Derek Kraus will be in row 6 for the start of this one. Smith coming off his first career Xfinity win 2 weeks ago at Richmond in the last race, and Derek Kraus had a top 10 in that race in his first career Xfinity start, making his second career Xfinity start today. Daniel Hemrick and Ryan Truex will line up in row 4. Look out for Truex. He's had some solid runs, 2 top 5 finishes in his only 2 races in that 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. We'll see if he can go 3 for 3 today. And Daniel Hemrick looking for his 5th top 10 of the year. He's right on the bubble of the Xfinity Series playoffs through the first 6 races. 7 races at that. Austin Hill and Brett Moffitt will come in row number 8 for the start of today's race. Austin Hill, a 3-time winner already this year and currently the points leader. Ryan Sieg and Connor Mosack will be back in row number 9. Mosack making the start in the 24 car today. Kaz Gralla and Josh Williams will be back in row number 10. And then Parker Kligerman and Jeremy Clements in row number 11. Parker Kligerman coming in as the last driver above the Xfinity Series cutoff line for the playoffs. 13 points to the good today. Blaine Perkins and Alex LeBay will line up in row number 12. Jeffrey Earnhardt and Matt Mills in row 13. Kyle Weatherman, Kyle Sieg in row 14. Dawson Cram and Leland Honeyman will be in row 15. Jeb Burton, Bretton Poole in row 16. Caden Honeycutt followed by Joe Graff Jr. will be in row number 17, and then row 18 rounding out the field today will be Ryan Ellis and Patrick Emerly. 38 cars in the field. They're in row 16, and then row 18 behind them rounding out the field will be Greg Golding and Anthony Alfredo. So that will be your 38-car field for tonight's Martinsville race. 250 laps around the half-mile paperclip short track today. Cars are on the racetrack right now. They're parked in the middle of turns 3 and 4. I'm not sure what exactly is going on. I don't know if they're waiting for other cars. I think they might have been waiting for the rest of the field to get off of pit road, is what I'm going to guess was happening there, but not sure why they're parked exactly right now. Yeah, they're firing them up and going again, so I'm going to guess that they were probably just waiting on some of the cars to leave pit road still, the tail end of the field. Cars getting back rolling in the right direction again. Hopeful Terry Lewis, also welcome into the stream. Talking about Chandler Smith right now, I believe they will be queuing him up from the Fox booth, and you guys will get to listen into that pre-race interview, as well as some of the updated pit reports before the drop of the green flag.
Chandler Smith, Brad Keselowski up here in the FS1 booth. You got a copy?
What's up, Brad? How are you?
Good. Not as good as you, though. Last race winner here. Looks like you got a great shot at it today. What are you thinking for your chances to go back to back here with the win at Martinsville?
Yeah, man, you know the deal. It's just got to keep doing what you keep doing every single week. We're going to go out here and try to limit all mistakes and just get the best finish we can. I'm really happy to be here with Colleague Racing Quick Time Products. Chris Rice and Matt Colleague for giving me this opportunity to drive their race car and have a little bit of fun. So appreciate everybody else in the booth tonight. Hopefully you all have fun.
10-4. Well, we'll be watching. Look forward to seeing what you can do, and good luck with that Dash for Cash.
Yep, thank you, brother.
You've heard from Brad and Joey. Now let's meet the rest of our broadcast crew. Our eyes in the sky tonight. Coleman Presley down on pit road. Regan Smith and Josh Sims. Good evening, Josh.
Well, you know, Brandon Jones has to have a love-hate relationship with this place. Getting the win here last spring and then in the fall, leading on the last lap before getting dumped by his teammate and losing out on a chance to win the championship. He looks at the positive side, saying at least he knows what it takes to run well here. Or remember, a new team this year, so the goal was to get the setup as close to what he had when he was at JGR. He said they were close in practice and qualifying, just needs a little bit more if he wants to get that first win of the season, Regan.
Josh, it's been a quick start to the year for Josh Berry. 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s already this season, and a near win 2 weeks ago at Richmond. But the team told me they are not happy with that. They expect to win, and they expect to win frequently this year. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder tonight as they go for an extra $100,000 in the Dash for Cash. He starts 6th in just a little bit. Coleman?
Thanks, Regan. You know, we talked about patience, we talked about aggression. Now it's time for everything in between. This track's going to go through a lot of changes tonight. If it starts taking rubber, we're going to be talking about how much of a diamond they're using, how much of the curb they're using. That's a spotter's job to relay to the driver exactly where the groove's moving to. Once we do that, it comes down to crunch time. It's time to be aggressive. What's it going to take to win? Maybe win $100 grand tonight. We got 2 guys in the booth that's really good at laying the bumper to someone, so it's going to be a good race to watch.
They've actually laid the bumper to one another.
Yes. That might have happened a time or two.
I might have to get in the middle.
I think there's a skill to it, all right?
I promise I didn't ask Homer this Sunday. I did not make that request.
We've been set up, Joey.
We have been.
Today's race analysis: 60 laps in Stage 1, another 60 laps in Stage 2, and 130 laps in the final stage. They shouldn't have to make any green flag pit stops today, even if any of these stages go caution-free. 131 miles for the 250 complete laps. Pit road speed will be 30 miles per hour, and the field window is 125 to 130 laps. Rowdy Fan 8, Christopher McComas, Patty Rumdy Creations, as well as Chris Davis, welcome into tonight's race live stream as well. Again, this is our second race of the weekend. We will still be having live commentary for tomorrow's Cup race as well. That will start at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That race will be on Fox Sports 1 as well this weekend. 5 drivers dropping to the rear for the start of today's race. Sheldon Creed, Jeremy Clemens, Caden Honeycutt, Anthony Alfredo, and Alex LeBay will be starting at the rear of the field. All because of unapproved adjustments following qualifying yesterday afternoon. It's strange to me that they closed the grandstands down in the middle of the corners for the truck and the Xfinity races at Martinsville and Bristol. I don't think they did it for Bristol for the Xfinity race last year. Or maybe not last year, but the year before when I was there for the truck race, the grandstands were closed in the corners. But then the Xfinity race, they were open. And then the Cup race, they were open, obviously. So it's weird that they do that, though, for the Xfinity and the Truck Series races for whatever reason. These tickets are usually cheaper over there, too, so making people spend more money. Just go to the race. A lot of people like those seats, too. I personally like to sit as close to the start-finish line as possible. I've always liked that ever since I was a kid. Just in case it was like a photo finish or something, I'd be right there for the finish. That was always kind of like my main reason I wanted to ever since I was younger. Go to local dirt tracks and stuff. They have gotten the one-to-go signal this time by, so they will be going green. The following time, Cole Custer will be on the inside lane of the front row. That was the lane in which everybody pretty much picked last night in the truck race when they were the control car in the front row for the restarts, and we'll see if that'll be the case throughout today's race as well. Obviously, with the rain passing through overnight last night, a pretty green racetrack to start this off. Any rubber that was laid down, I guess there was, never mind. There was practice to qualify for the Cup Series earlier, so I guess there is a little bit of rubber on the racetrack from on-track activity already today, just not for the Xfinity Series. They practiced and qualified yesterday afternoon. Green flag is going to be in the air. We are racing for the 8th time this season for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and for the first time at Martinsville in the season for the Xfinity Series schedule. Cole Custer easily clear off of turn 2 on John Hunter Nemechek, who is also clear for second place. 3 wide for third going into turn 3. Sammy Smith underneath Sam Mayer and Parker Retzlaff getting into turns 3 and 4. Retzlaff gets body slammed by Josh Berry, who was in the middle. As Riley Herbst was on the bottom, the 31 of Retzlaff trying to get back down to the inside as soon as he can. There wasn't a hole that was open for him to get down there after the contact from Berry. Got a better drive off of turn 2, and he does get in front of the 16 of Chandler Smith. John Hunter Nemechek already putting a lot of pressure on Cole Custer, who leads the first 2 laps of tonight's race. Nemechek got to the inside of Custer through 3 and 4, couldn't make the pass. Quickly gets to the back bumper 1 and 2 again, nudges him, but can't move him completely out of the way. As Sammy Smith in the 18 car, who qualified 7th, jumped up 4 positions in those opening 2 laps. Daniel Hemrick slides a little bit loose, gave up a bit of the bottom, then chopped off Austin Hill in the middle of the corner, who then hit the curb after contact between the 11 and the 21. So they battle for 10th. And Retzlaff, who started in 4th, is now back to 9th as Justin Allgaier will make the pass on him. John Hunter Nemechek needs to get by Cole Custer quickly because the rest of the field is starting to bunch up closer to the back of Cole Custer, who has led the first 4 laps of the race. Nemechek looks low into turns 1 and 2 this time. Gets to the inside of the 00. And again, can't really get the drive off, but he does stay alongside of him this time. Doesn't have to drop back in line and charges the inside again hard into the braking zone into turns 3 and 4. Door to door, Custer holds him tight. No contact that corner. Custer leads that lap by about a half a car length over the Nemechek 20 car underneath him. John Hunter a little bit off the curb, washes up the track. Contact with Cole Custer that time, and Sammy Smith will close in just a little bit more on the 2 in front of him. Custer giving the 20 a little bit more room to make the corner through 3 and 4, and John Hunter Nemechek is clear, will lead his first lap in the early going of the night. Sammy Smith now to the back bumper of Cole Custer, just a little tap in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Custer remains in the second place position and directly in line behind the 20. Top 3 very close together now. John Hunter Nemechek showing some speed though in the early going of this one. Top 10 right now, John Hunter Nemechek is in the lead. Cole Custer is 2nd. Sammy Smith is 3rd. Sam Mayer is 4th. Riley Herbst is 5th. Josh Berry is 6th. Chandler Smith 7th. Justin Allgaier 8th. Daniel Hemrick 9th. And Parker Retzlaff is 10th after 8 laps of 60 in Stage 1. Ryan Sieg making a pass on Derek Kraus for position. Kraus in his 2nd career Xfinity start today for Collie Grayson in the number 10. 3rd entry. That car running full-time this year along with the other 2 cars, but not being ran by a full-time driver in the Xfinity Series. Kraus making his 2nd start. Austin Dillon's made a few starts to that car this year, as well as Kyle Busch already this season. Allmendinger made 1 start at COTA, and that is the only win by a Cup Series regular this season. Was for A.J. Allmendinger in that one race. Dominated from the pole as well. Sam Mayer not quite able to keep up with the 3 cars that are in front of him. Brett Moffitt on a quick charge to the inside of Kraus, who's lost about 4 or 5 positions off the start of today's race, and Moffitt will clear Kraus for 14th place on the racetrack. Cole Custer now starting to lose the 20 car just a little bit. Sammy Smith still all over the back bumper of Custer, trying to catch up to his JGR teammate in front of him. Being very patient, though, in the early going behind the 00. No sense of urgency being shown by Sammy Smith right now. Trying to diamond the corners off maybe a little bit more than Custer, who's rounding the curb all the way through the corner. Sammy Smith with a lot wider corner entry. Cuts down in the middle of the corner. Trying to get a little bit better drive off of that car in front of him as he's not quite beating Custer into the braking zones. Austin Hill, Brandon Jones battling for 11th place. Mentioned in our pre-race that Brandon Jones has not scored a top 10 finish yet for JRM so far this season. Austin Hill holding the 9 car very tightly in the middle of the corners. A bit of contact made that time. Very slight nudge door to door between the 21 and the 9. Jones has been on the inside of Austin Hill for a little over a lap now, just hasn't been able to actually complete the pass. Brandon Jones racing him very cleanly, straight up. Austin Hill seems to be struggling with grip in the center of the corner. His car sliding around a lot in that outside lane. Brandon Jones beating the 21 back to the gas that time. His bumper is out in front of Hill getting into turns 3 and 4. Ryan Sieg hoping one of these 2 cars could clear sometime soon because he's got a major run behind both of them. And 25 car Brett Moffitt is now closing in behind them. Jones finally completes the pass on the regular season points leader Austin Hill, and now Ryan Sieg going to try to do the same as he challenges to the inside. Riley Herbst getting to the back bumper of Sam Mayer, rather. And it looks like Mayer's just going to let the 98 car go and drop in line behind him. Wise move by Mayer as he remains in the top 5, and Riley Herbst moving up to 4th. Great start to the season for Riley Herbst so far this year. Has been very consistent, hasn't led a lot of laps, but he has been getting good finishes, and that's why he's 2nd in points coming into the race today. He's the only driver without a win in the top 4 in points. First commercial break of the night on FS1 for those of you watching. Our full field running order right now. John Hunter Nemechek is your race leader. Cole Custer is in 2nd. Sammy Smith 3rd. Riley Herbst is 4th. Sam Mayer is in 5th. Josh Berry is 6th. Chandler Smith 7th. Justin Allgaier 8th. Daniel Hemrick 9th. And Parker Retzlaff is 10th. Brandon Jones in 11th. Ryan Sieg 12th. Austin Hill 13th. Brett Moffitt 14th. Derek Kraus is 15th. Ryan Truex 16th. Parker Kligerman from the rear of the field already up to 17th. Connor Mosack 18th. Kyle Scarala 19th. Blaine Perkins is 20th. Josh Williams 21st. Matt Mills 22nd. Kyle Weatherman is 23rd. 24th is Kyle Sieg. And Sheldon Creed is 25th, starting at the rear of the field today. Jeffrey Earnhardt at 26th. Jeb Burton 27th. Dawson Cramp 28th. Leland Honeyman 29th. And Brendan Poole is 30th. Jeremy Clements in 31st. Greg Golding 32nd. Alex Obey 33rd. 34th is Ryan Ellis. Patrick Emmerling 35th. Joe Graff Jr. 36th, Caden Honeycutt 37th, and Anthony Alfredo 38th. All 38 cars still on the lead lap through 20 laps out of 60 in Stage 1 today, and out of 250 total in today's race. You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series live commentary streamed live on KRC tonight from Martinsville Speedway. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Brett Whitesides, Danny Haley, Tim Brown, Rebecca Chatlos, Niall, welcome into the stream as well. Christopher Jimenez, welcome to the stream. I'm doing pretty good this weekend. Playing some good golf, watching some good racing. It's been a fun weekend for myself so far. I got to get my round in very early tomorrow. Not just because the Cup race is obviously earlier than the Truck and the Xfinity race has been, but I have some rain that's supposed to roll in like in the late morning hours into the early afternoon tomorrow. So I got my tee time at 8:30 tomorrow. I'll be up at like 6:30 tomorrow morning. So this race better not go very long. Getting up a little bit earlier than what I usually would on a day off of my weekly job. Hi, Stephen King 92 Hammer. Thanks for tuning in as well. Deegan, I think she finished like 20th in the truck race last night, right around there. Howdy, sorry, John Hunter Nemechek for the win. Yeah, Kyle Busch not running this Xfinity race tonight. He was in the Truck Series race last night, though, finished 2nd. Corey Heim got his first career truck win last night. It was the 4th truck regular to go to victory lane in the yearly going of the Truck Series season. They've had a little bit less races than both the Xfinity and the Cup Series. In fact, the first Xfinity Series week off was last week for the Bristol Dirt Weekend. They will be running the Concrete Bristol race later this year, but no dirt race on the Xfinity Series schedule. Update on where the 4 drivers for the Dash for Cash are running here today. John Hunter Nemechek is currently your race leader. Josh Berry's in 6th place. Chandler Smith 7th, and then Justin Allgaier is 8th. Picked Nemechek to win tonight's race, so currently proved me right, at least for the first 27 laps. A lot of racing, though, still to go. Seeing a lot of cars sliding around on the corner entry quite a bit going into turn 1 for some of those in the top 10 of Berry, Allgaier, and Chandler Smith. This being the opening fuel and tire stint of this race, obviously. Allgaier a lot wider on his corner entry. Trying to close that gap on Chandler Smith, who's just in front of him. Margin of race lead right now, about 0.8 of a second for John Hunter Nemechek over Cole Custer. Sammy Smith put pressure on Custer when he was catching them when Nemechek first took the lead, but now there's about a 1 second gap between the 2nd and 3rd place race cars. Allgaier will complete the pass on Chandler Smith. Smith going to let him go in the early going. A lot of patience being shown by a lot of these drivers in the top 10. Smart, clean racing in the early going of this one. I doubt that will hold up by the end of the race, but we'll see. I like the paint scheme that Justin Allgaier is supporting this weekend, by the way. It kind of reminds me of the Terry Labonte Got Milk paint schemes back in the early 2000s. Well, it's not milk that splattered like on the side sheets of the race car. It's just like a white trim, but it does look like the Got Milk paint schemes. Because I just mentioned that, I will show you guys that diecast during our stage break diecast showing today. It was raining right towards the end of Stage 2 of the race that ended up rain short, so I only got the one shown to you guys. I showed one during the dirt race at Bristol last week. or didn't show you guys during the Bristol Dirt Race. So I meant to show you 2 last night. I only showed you the 1. So I'll show you guys 2 diecasts today at the end of each stage. But we got 30 laps or so before we get there. A lot of lap traffic that the leaders are dealing with right now. Few cars have gone a lap down already. Still 33 on the lead lap. Be interesting, those drivers that started at the rear of the field, like a Sheldon Creed. If he's going to be able to actually stay on the lead lap, Parker Klickerman around 17th, will they get through that much lap traffic before the end of this first stage? I don't think they will, because it's only 60 laps. If it was a cup race and it's like 100 laps in the first stage, that'd be one thing, but stages fly by a lot quicker, of course, in the Xfinity Series with the shorter race length. Josh Berry to the inside of his JRM teammate Sam Mayer completes the pass through turns 3 and 4 for 5th place, so Berry moves into the top 5 for the first time this evening. He's about 3.5 seconds off the race lead, and he's only a couple car lengths behind Riley Herbst in 4th, and Herbst is running down Sammy Smith as well. Cole Custer has closed that gap on John Hunter Nemechek. The race lead is now just 0.2 of a second. Custer is about 1.5 quicker than Nemechek that last lap, as Custer getting through the lap traffic maybe a little bit better than John Hunter in the early going. Nose to tail for the race lead. Custer thought about pulling to the bottom 3 wide with the lap car, the 91 of Alex LeMay on the outside. He does get into Nemechek. 3 wide late dive in the center of the corner by Cole Custer. And that was a lot of contact he made with John Hunter Nemechek. Way too aggressive of a move there by Custer. He tried to jam his car into the inside lane when there wasn't much room. And now we've got a spinner in our first caution of the race, as Brett Moffitt has gone around off the exit of turn number 4, it appears. So John Hunter Nemechek barely holding on to the lead there at the time of the caution. Custer was right there. It looked like Derek Kraus. No, I don't think it was Kraus. Looked like the 25 car wheel hopped it getting into the braking zone in turn 3 and got loose. And he was practically spinning out before making contact with Austin Hill. Derek Kraus was behind him, just missed the spinning 25. He definitely didn't get into the back of him. So a wheel hop by Brett Moffitt loses control of the race car in turns 3 and 4. And that will be our first caution of the race today. Your top 5 right now: John Hunter Nemechek is the race leader, Cole Custer in 2nd, Sammy Smith 3rd, Riley Herbst 4th, and Josh Berry rounds out the top 5 in the Call 811.com before you dig 250. The NASCAR Xfinity Series here at Martinsville. A little less than 100 people watching, I believe. I actually have to update that. That could be wrong. Got 34 likes on the stream, so again, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so already, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're going to have a late dash here to the end of Stage 1. Should have right around 20 laps to go in the stage when they get back to racing. Sorry, 44 likes on the stream, not 34. And we've got about 92 people watching. Philip Moore, welcome into the stream, as well as Sid for Brains. Kyle Busch for the win. He's not running in the Xfinity race today. Alex LeMay will get the free pass, virtue of this Brett Moffitt caution. Little spin by the 25. Should be able to put 4 fresh tires back on it. He was running around 14th place when he had spun. We'll stay right here. We won't take an ad break yet until we get to the end of Stage 1. I don't think we'll see any pit stops. Well, I think we will see pit stops, but I don't think everybody will come in. I think there's going to be some drivers staying out trying to conserve maybe some of the tires that they have for today's race in case we get a lot of late race yellows. Especially at the final stage being 130 laps, which is more than the length of the first two stages combined. Kyle Busch is not retired. And here we do have pit stops.
Track position in every stage of this race is what he's going to do.
Josh Berry on pit road.
This stage here, so after the next caution for the stage break, they will stay out on that one. That was his plan coming into this race, and he was able to put it into action just a little bit loose from the center off with the 8 car right now.
When he won here 2 years ago, his crew chief, Taylor Moyer, he started 29th. So they're used to getting out of the box. They've had to do it a lot this year because of issues on track. So Berry won that we will keep an eye on as we head toward the end of stage 1.
So Josh Berry and Austin Hill came into the pits, and I believe they were really the only two notable drivers that came onto pit road to take tires that will end up staying out then during the stage break. So when they go to green flag racing to start stage 2, those drivers are going to have a little less than 20 lap older tires than the rest of the field behind them. It'll be interesting to see what kind of a difference that will make. Austin Hill was a little bit outside the top 10, so I don't think he'll be able to hang on quite as well as Berry, but Berry was in 5th place, so he's got a quick car slowly moving forward from where he started as well at the time of the first yellow. And I believe they'll be going green this time by with 17 laps left in stage 1. Pace car pulling onto pit road. John Hunter Nemechek, the control car for the restart, on the inside, as we'll probably see throughout the course of the race. Haven't seen anybody take the outside between the early going to the Xfinity race tonight as well as all throughout the truck race yesterday. Green flag back in the air at Martinsville, 17 to go, stage 1. Great launch by that inside car in the front row. Cole Custer did not take off well, and Sammy Smith may have a shot at second place on Custer here. They'll be side by side for second place off of turn number 2. And Custer gets squeezed into the wall by the 18 of Sammy Smith, who didn't give him a lot of room there. Daniel Hemrick will clear on Justin Allgaier for about 6th place. And Sammy Smith not quite clear of Custer, still hanging on well on the outside. Connor Mosack bounces off the wall off turn 4. They're 3 wide further back in the pack. And still 3 wide into 3 and 4 as Mosack's trying to hang on in the 3rd lane. Contact between Daniel Hemrick and Riley Herbst off the exit of turn 2 as Herbst may have crowded the 11 a little bit too much. It was the 0-2 of Blaine Perkins that actually moved Mosack up the racetrack a little bit, so it wasn't Mosack's fault he went as wide as he did. Jeremy Clements nearly scraping the outside wall of turn 4 as well as he gets a little wide. Austin Hill gave him a lot of room. Clements maybe got back in the gas a little bit too soon. Hemrick on the inside of Riley Herbst still. And there's a slight bit of contact off the exit of the corner. Hemrick sliding up into the 98 car. Little Rubbins racing going on as they battle for 5th place. Stage points on the line for these drivers. Hemrick, we mentioned, is right on the bubble coming into this race. Only 13 points to the good. And Riley Herbst only 12 points behind Austin Hill for the regular season points standings leader. And Austin Hill will not get stage points in stage 1 after pitting during that caution. So Riley Herbst has a chance here to really close that gap as he is still in the top 5. He knows how important these points are as he tries to hold off the 11. About a 1 second gap built up between Sam Mayer in 4th and then Riley Herbst in 5th. Sammy Smith, meanwhile, was able to make the pass on Cole Custer for 2nd place on the restart, so JGR runs 1-2 at the front of the field. A late dive on the front stretch heading into the first turn being made by Ryan Truex in the 19 as he body slams the 39 of Ryan Sieg as they battle for 11th on the track. Sammy Smith, not quite as quick as John Hunter Nemechek that last lap. 20 car dominating the early going of this one. Man, 173 beats per minute on the whoop meter that Sammy Smith is wearing for tonight's race. Alabama 90, thanks for tuning in. Dennis R. Gerald, welcome to the stream as well. Sam Mayer showing some speed right now following this restart on slightly older tires. Put pressure on Cole Custer. He's dropped back a couple spots after qualifying on the pole for today's race. Still hanging on to third. Big overdrive in turns 3 and 4 by Mayer. He clipped the curb trying to diamond cut the corner off. Got really loose off turn 4. And Custer was able to pull away about 2 car lengths or so off the exit of the corner. 9 more laps for Mayer to try to get by Custer to get that extra stage point. Sheldon Creed moving forward after starting at the rear of the field, passes Parker Kligerman for 15th. He got up to 22nd before the caution, so he's gained a few spots since the restart. Had a couple cars pit in front of him, including his teammate Austin Hill and then Josh Berry, so he's gained about 4 spots since the restart. And he might have a shot at more positions because there's a lot of side-by-side racing going on in front of him. Ryan Truex and Ryan Sieg. Both the Ryans battling side-by-side. And then Kaz Gralla and Derek Kraus were side-by-side momentarily as well. Before now getting down to single file. Truex finally completes the pass on Sieg. He completed it on him, but then Sieg got back to the inside, tried to cross him over, and stayed side-by-side with him for a couple more laps as they crisscrossed lanes. But now Ryan Truex was able to get the drive off of turn 2 that last lap and clear him. Austin Hill on about 40 lap fresher tires quickly pulls up to the 16th place car of Parker Kligerman. I don't think he's going to get into the top 10, but he has moved through the field a bit quicker than Josh Berry, which means that he'll probably be the leader on the restart as long as he stays in front of the 8, but he could be using up a little more of his tires as well. Berry may be conserving them a little bit more than the 21. If they have to go all the way to the end of stage 2, they're going to have to go about 80 laps on those tires, so they might want to take care of them a little bit more. Unless he feels that there's maybe a chance he can get in the top 10 to get some stage points. I don't think that'll be possible. Slide job going into turns 3 and 4 for Justin Allgaier as he makes a pass for 6th place on Daniel Hemrick on track. Creed pulls to the inside of Kaz Gralla as well for a 9 points battle outside the top 10 for 14th. Sammy Smith is about 4 car lengths behind the 20, overdrives 3 and 4. He locked up the front tire, the left front specifically locked up, left a skid mark in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Did a great job holding on to the race car, but because of that overdrive, he was about a couple tenths slower than John Hunter that last lap. Still about a full second ahead of Custer. He's pushing hard right now, knowing he's only got a couple laps before they change those tires. And Sam Mayer's still been stuck behind Cole Custer. He's racing very respectively right now. For this third place position late in stage 1, we're down to 2 to go. Nemechek gets a better drive off of turn 2 than his teammate behind him, and he's got about a 4 to 5 car length lead with less than a lap and a half to go in this first stage. Sammy Smith a lot tighter down to the curbing that time, and Jonathan Nemechek pulls him a little more, and I wonder how much abuse might have been made on those front tires after locking him up a couple laps ago for Sammy Smith. Kind of slides deep into turns 1 and 2 as well. Consistently overdriving the corner. Cole Custer calls it in behind him, but will not catch Sammy for second. And Custer should stay in front of Mayer as well, as Mayer too far behind to get by him through 3 and 4. Green, white, checkered flag in the air for the first time tonight. John Hunter Nemechek will win stage 1. Sammy Smith will end up second. Cole Custer third. Sam Mayer fourth. Riley Herbst fifth. Justin Allgaier sixth. Daniel Hemrick seventh. Chandler Smith eighth. Parker Retzlaff ninth. And then Brandon Jones will round out the top 10 in stage number 1. This is the second stage win of the season for John Hunter Nemechek. Again, you're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Call 811 before you dig 250 at Martinsville Speedway tonight. Appreciate everybody tuning in here live on KRC. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll have pit stops on the other side. A little bit of slightly breaking news in the NASCAR world as of right now. Just seeing on Twitter that NASCAR, and it is the official NASCAR app, has posted that they are moving the start time for tomorrow's Martinsville Cup race up 10 minutes. So the green flag will wave at 3:01 Eastern Standard Time on FS1. So again, 3:01 will be the drop of the green flag. We will still go live at 2:30 for that race, but we're going to have to fly through our pre-race a little bit quicker. Means they move the start time up about 10 minutes. Usually we go live about 45 minutes before. Now it's only going to be about a half hour before after moving the start time up a little bit. So moving the start time up to about 3 o'clock right on the nose for tomorrow's race. But we'll still get all those pre-race predictions in before the start, of course. So a little less time to get your fantasy lineups in. So make sure you set them tonight and then maybe manage them during our pre-race coverage for tomorrow's race. I'll give you guys my in-depth predictions for who I think particular drivers will run for tomorrow. Antoine Powell, welcome into the stream as well. Finally picked a winner. For tonight's race or tomorrow? I picked the 20. Oh, gotcha. For tonight. Yeah, I've only predicted the Xfinity race winner once. It's a lot harder to predict the Xfinity and the Truck Series races just because there isn't as much statistical analysis to go off of because of, at least in the Cup Series, you know how particular drivers more often than not race at particular racetracks, but with the Xfinity and the Truck Series, the driver lineup changes so much from year to year to year. There's very few drivers that have actually ran at specific racetracks in these cars. Look at how many young drivers that have only raced maybe one race at Martinsville. I guess 2 races because of last year, but only have 1 season or less of experience at Martinsville in the Xfinity Series. Like a Sammy Smith, like a Chandler Smith, Sam Mayer. Even Austin Hill only had 1 year. Sheldon Creed 1 year. And we do have pit stops going on.
Center and locking the fronts up for him. Josh?
Well, stage 1 winner, John Hunter Nemechek, overall happy with the cars that he's struggling with drive off, so they're going to try and help him out with that. The one of Sammy Smith said he was losing grip overall towards the end of that run. Those tires should help with that, and Sammy Smith put the pressure on John Hunter Nemechek. Just getting a little too tight as well towards the end of the run, so they'll help with the 18 out.
Pit road, such a huge part of the equation here. And keep in mind there were a handful of drivers that pitted at that last cautions.
John Hunter Nemechek will win the race off of pit road here, but again, there were a couple drivers that stayed out of the pits during this stage break because they pitted during the late caution for the Brett Moffitt spin and have about 17 laps on their tires to start stage 2. And it sounds like they will queue up John Hunter Nemechek from the FS1 booth.
Hard to get that clean air and manage the race. How's she feeling?
Not too bad. Didn't really make too big of an adjustment there. I don't know exactly what the track is going to do here as the night goes on. So, due to me in my Xfinity debut here, but in Martinsville, but the guys have given me a really fast 5-bar Toyota GR Supra, fast as Xfinity Dingy. So, hopefully you're chilling like you were in the bus lot up there and enjoying the show.
Absolutely, we're enjoying it, and listening to you talk about the rubber laydown and all, it's keeping it interesting. So we'll see how that goes as it goes along here.
Thank you. Wish me luck.
Anthony Alfredo will get the free pass during this stage 1 caution break. This is our second caution of the night. 31 drivers on the lead lap now out of the 38 car field that started the race. And again, John Hunter Nemechek gets his second stage win of the season after winning stage number 1. So the drivers that stayed out of the pits, Austin Hill, Josh Berry, Dawson Cram, and Jeb Burton, they all pitted during the caution that took place back at lap 36. But by the time we went green, they only had 17 laps on their tires. We'll see how much of a difference that will make. The only driver of those that were actually in the top 10 when they pitted was Josh Berry, who was in 5th. Austin Hill was 11th, and then I don't even really know where Dawson Cram and Jeff Burt were running. I think they were running outside the top 15 at least, maybe even outside the top 20, but trying to take advantage of that, get track position. We'll see what will happen, but you would expect that they're going to go backwards. Hopefully they don't get ran over too terribly. Parker Retzlaff lost a lot of spots on pit road. He's going to be back at 17th. I think he finished 9th at the end of stage 1. Obviously, 4 cars stayed out of the pits, but he still would have lost like 4 spots at least on pit road. Tough break there. 6 spots on pit road lost for Parker. Qualified 4th tonight. Stayed top 10 through stage 1. Fell back off that initial start of the race, but then once he got to about 8th, 9th, he settled in there for most of the rest of the way through this first stage. Not used to running up there with a lot of those other Xfinity Series regulars like he was. Takes a lot of experience. Smith wearing the lie detector. Podium picks 7, 21, 39. That's bold for Ryan Sieg. We'll see. Austin Hill and that team has been very aggressive with their pit strategy calls. A lot of the RCR cars I've noticed mainly in the Xfinity Series between Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill on a weekly basis, they're usually the ones that want to go off strategy. Sheldon Creed did not pit with Austin Hill, though, during that first caution back in stage 1. So it's kind of weird seeing them split the strategy a little bit. Sheldon Creed's gained a lot of spots from the start of the race after dropping to the rear. Making some adjustments, showing some Martinsville hot dogs. Making me hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet. we streamed the Throwback Thursday stream before this, so I didn't have enough time to get something to eat yet before the Xfinity race started. So I'll be eating as soon as this stream is over. $2. Are they still $2? Oh, they are. Wow. Unbelievable. Still $2 for a Martinsville hot dog. That's unbelievable. So it sounds like Cole Custer lost some time on pit road. They dropped the jack a little early, and they ended up having to get the hose from the left front tire changer out from underneath the splitter of the race car. So Custer going to be restarted back in 10th place after finishing 3rd at the end of stage 1. Green flag back in the air. Austin Hill on the inside. Great start by both the front row cars. Row 2, both on the inside and outside, spun their tires on the restart. Sammy Smith kind of got into the back of Jeb Burton and nearly turned him on the front straightaway. John Hunter Nemechek going to take it 3 wide to the inside of the 07 and the 27, getting into the next corner. Sammy Smith sandwiched in the middle, 3 wide. 16 of Chandler Smith goes wide. Contact with Riley Herbst into the outside wall, just a brief bit. And Herbst loses a couple positions as well, up on the outside of a couple cars. The 07 getting punted out of the way now by all the faster cars behind him. That did not work out well for those two. I wasn't expecting it to. I was hoping they weren't going to get ran over too terribly. And it looked like the 07 car at the very least did. Jeb Burton still hanging on to 3rd for right now despite spinning the tires. He's got a couple car length gap built up over John Hunter Nemechek, who is the first running of those on fresh tires that pitted during the stage 1 break. Side by side for the lead between Josh Berry and Austin Hill. Hill led a few laps following the restart. Berry clears him through turns 3 and 4. Had a better car in the first stage of the race, but couldn't get through the traffic as quickly as Austin Hill on the restart. Both at the end of stage 1 and then the beginning of stage 2, but he does get around him about 3 or 4 laps into the restart here in the second stage. So Josh Berry to the lead for the first time tonight. We'll see what he can do. 17 lap older tires. Austin Hill still challenging him from behind, and John Hunter Nemechek still in 4th as he tries to close the gap on Jeb Burton. He's a little less than 1 second off the race lead, and he's about a little less than 2 car lengths now behind the 27 car Burton in front of him. Justin Allgaier losing some spots on the last restart. He's battling Derek Kraus for 12th. Dawson Cram and the 07 who stayed out right in front of both cars, holding them up. Sam Mayer stuck on the outside as well. Jeb Burton goes wide into the first turn. John Hunter Nemechek underneath him for 3rd. And Daniel Hemrick raced his way up to 4th on the restart. Cole Custer lost some spots on pit road, got a lot of those spots back. He's the 3rd highest running driver of those that pitted. Burton getting sandwiched. He got hit by the 0-0 of Cole Custer getting into turn 1. That pushed him into the car in front of him of Nemechek, and then he slowed up even more, washed up out of the groove, and now Custer's getting around him. Nemechek to the inside of Austin Hill quickly now. 1 second off the lead. Gets by Hill very fast. Through turns 1 and 2 to move into 2nd, and now trying to run down the race leader Josh Berry on those fresher tires. How long will Josh Berry be able to hold on to the lead for? Top 10 following the restart right now to start stage 2. Josh Berry is in the lead. John Hunter Nemechek is in 2nd. Austin Hill 3rd. Daniel Hemrick is 4th. Cole Custer 5th. Sammy Smith is in 6th. Brandon Jones 7th. Jeb Burton 8th. Chandler Smith 9th. And Riley Herbst is in 10th. 0.8 of a second is the lead right now between Berry and Nemechek. Nemechek was about a 1/10 or 2 quicker that last lap than Berry. Austin Hill falling back a little further now in that outside lane. Daniel Hemrick has gotten around him for 3rd. Cole Custer trying to get around him for position as well. Only one top 5 on the year for Hemrick, looking for his 2nd today. Pretty good run for the most part at Richmond a couple weeks ago. Austin Hill into the back of the 0-0 in the middle of 3 and 4. Maybe didn't realize Custer's going to back the corner up that much. Custer got a launch off the corner, kind of bogged down the 21 a bit, and Sammy Smith is now right behind Hill looking for 5th. Sheldon Creed getting by Dawson Cram as well. Cram has fallen from 4th to 14th on this restart right now. Make that 15th as Creed passes him. Trying to settle in, but he's struggling to do so. About 100 people watching right now. 64 likes on the stream. Appreciate everybody that has hit that like button so far. Sure to do so if you haven't already. And subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Lead down to 0.7 of a second. Going to a commercial break on FS1 right now. Full field running order looks like this through 85 of 250 laps. Josh Berry has a 0.7 of a second lead over John Hunter Nemechek in 2nd. Cole Custer's in 3rd place. Daniel Hemrick is 4th. Sammy Smith in 5th. Austin Hill at 6th, Brandon Jones 7th, Chandler Smith 8th, Riley Herbst 9th, and Jeb Burton is 10th. Derek Kraus in 11th, Ryan Truex in 12th, Justin Allgaier in 13th, Sheldon Creed 14th, Sam Mayer is 15th, Parker Retzlaff in 16th, Dawson Cram 17th, Parker Kligerman 18th, Kaz Grell in 19th, and 20th is Ryan Sieg. Blaine Perkins in 21st, Kyle Sieg is in 22nd, Jeremy Clements 23rd, Connor Mosack 24th, Jeffrey Earnhardt 25th, Josh Williams 26th, Alex LeBay 27th, Kyle Weatherman 28th, Matt Mills 29th, Leland Honeyman 30th, Anthony Alfredo last car in the lead lap at 31st, Brett Moffitt 32nd, Greg Gaulding 33rd, Ryan Ellis 34th, 35th is Patrick Emerly, Joe Graff Jr. 36th, Hayden Honeycutt 37th, and Brendan Poole is 38th. Caution is out under the commercial break right now for the 3rd time today. Unaware exactly what the caution is for. As of right now, it looks like Brett Moffitt will get the free pass, though, get back on the lead lap after that spin he had and went a lap down during the caution. Changing the tires, but he is now going to be back on the lead lap. He was running a top 15 earlier. We'll see if he can get back to that point, if not better. But again, we are under caution during the commercial break, so still waiting for Fox to come back from the break to see exactly what the caution is for. But they are under yellow flag for the first time at stage 2. And the caution flag flew at lap 86, so it was a lap after they went to the break. Because they went to the break at lap 85. 40 minutes into this one so far. I'll give you guys that diecast showing then. Didn't quite get it at the end of stage 1. We'll have another one at the end of stage 2. This is the Terry Labonte Got Milk paint scheme I was actually telling you guys about. Justin Allgaier's car looks somewhat similar to it, at least with the way the black and white is. Obviously, it's a different car. It's a Chevy Well, I mean, they're both Chevys, but it's a different car. But I've always liked this car. Big fan of drinking milk. Milk is good for you. I don't know. I've always liked the car, though. I like the way the milk was splattered on it. And, I mean, look at it. I didn't realize it was actually milk on the trim for, like, the longest time. I just thought it was, like, white for whatever reason. But then you see the gallons of milk, obviously, on the side of it and on the front of the race car as well. One of four Terry Labonte diecasts, actually, that I have. 74 car, cause of the caution. Engine detonation for Caden Honeycutt. Heavy smoke poured out of the car. And came to a complete stop at turns 1 and 2, bringing out the yellow. And again, Brett Moffitt gets the free pass during the caution. So we will see if there's any pit stops during this caution flag. I don't think there will be. Big caution, though, for Josh Berry. Less laps, he's going to have to try to hang on those old tires. Although this does bunch the field back up together, so it may not be a good thing, I guess, for him. He's probably going to lose a couple spots as the run went on the older tires. May lose more on the restart. He'll be the control car, though. Big thing is, where will John Hunter Nemechek choose for the choose roll? Will he go to the inside of row 2, or will he go to the outside of row 1? Hingo, welcome into the stream. Yeah, and Austin Hill fell back to 7th before the caution flag came out as well. Not holding on quite as well as Barry, who has that clean air advantage at least with the fresher tires. Or older tires, I should say. And the other two of Dawson Cram and Jeb Burton. Jeb Burton fell back to 10th. I guess he's still hanging on. Top 10 right now, then Dawson Cram 17th. I'm assuming they're just going to try to run it to the end of Stage 2 and then pit during the stage break, which would be the final stop of the day. Unless we get a later caution in this stage where we're only having to run a couple laps. But they'll be going green with a little less than 30 to go in the stage. So I think that's a little too much when you consider the fact that the final stage is 130 laps versus these first two stages only 60. Wouldn't be able to make it on field at the end by pitting out either anyway, so another reason to stay out. Still waiting on them to come back from the break. Hopefully we'll get back to the racing very shortly. Appreciate everybody tuning in today. Again, hit the like button if you haven't done so on the stream. Thumbs up. Helps these streams out a ton. And subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as well. Oh, 6 straight top 10 finishes for Josh Berry coming into the day. Didn't realize that. Longest streak of his Xfinity Series career. Didn't run full-time in the Xfinity Series till last season. Made it to the Championship 4, had 3 wins. His only win back in 2021 came right here at Martinsville on a part-time basis. Brian Chastain, thanks for tuning in as well. Couple top 10s in the Cup Series in his 5 starts that he made there as well for subbing in that 9 car for Chase Elliott. Elliott will be back in the Cup Series tomorrow. 10th place finish at Phoenix and a runner-up at Richmond a couple weeks ago. believe they'll be going to the choose rule this time, so we'll have about 25 laps to go on the restart. It's Josh Berry's radio communications. Yeah, it's 25 to go on the restart. Never mind, they didn't get the choose rule that time. I thought they were going to. So we'll have even less laps then on the restart for stage 2. Maybe they'll be doubling up this time. And I believe they are getting the 1 to go signal this time. Nope, not getting it that time either. Still got some safety crews on the racetrack. Applying speedy drive to the outside lane where Caden Honeycutt had gone up in smoke. They'll head to another break then during this commercial, or during this caution flag, I should say. So we'll take a quick break here ourselves as you're watching the call811.com. Before you dig 250 at Martinsville Speedway for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, appreciate everybody tuning in here today. Lengthy yellow, our third caution of the race here tonight. I think a top 15 would be really good for Chase Elliott tomorrow. Yeah, first race back, I think it would be too. You can definitely tell they're trying to rush him back so that way maybe he'd have a chance to potentially point his way into the top 16. I don't think it's going to be possible missing 6 races like he did, personally. But it does give him more opportunities to win. And if he feels 100% ready to go, then all right. I doubt he's going to be 100%, but they can get him in that car, get some points. You know, even stage wins apply for playoff points if he does end up winning a race. You know, the playoff points obviously would carry over for winning stages as well. So anything they can get out of him. Yeah, he's going to have to win. Take a look at the Cup Series standings real quick, just to, while we're killing some time here under the caution. See where Chase Elliott's at. Chase is 34th in points. Only made those first 2 starts of the year. Had a top 5 in one of those first 2 starts. He's got 49 points total on the season. And he has gotten a playoff waiver, so he is playoff eligible. If he can get a win. And then the 16th driver in points is Chris Buescher. He has 183 points. So Chase Elliott, if I do my math correctly here, would be 134 points behind Chris Buescher right now for 16. So he is just over 2 race worth of points behind Buescher for that final spot. And obviously a lot of drivers between himself and Buescher to try to catch. Just behind the 30th place driver in points, Noah Gragson right now. He is 42 points behind him still. Update on the Dash for Cash drivers and where they're running in the early going of this race. Josh Berry is currently a race leader. He is in the Dash for Cash running this weekend. Chandler Smith is in the 9th place position. Justin Allgaier is in 13th. Mark DeMars, welcome into the stream. They are doubled up now. They will be going green this time by. We'll have officially 20 laps left in stage 2. Got a crew member eating a Martinsville hot dog. Couple of them, actually. Snacking on some... Can you imagine? It's like, they're just eating. It's like, oh, shoot, we got a flat tire. you gotta throw the hot dog down. You gotta throw the hot dog away. It's a waste of a good hot dog. You gotta do your job, though. 100 laps completed in the race, 150 still to go. Green flag back in the air. Cole Custer did not take off well on the inside of road 2, and Sammy Smith, who was on the outside of him, quickly pulled down to clear him into turns 1 and 2. So Custer falls back to 4th. Quick lane change as he now gets to the outside. What a drive into the corner by Sammy Smith. What a move by the 18. He got it to stick, passes John Hunter Nemechek. Gets to the outside of the 8 car of Josh Berry as well. Slides a little bit too far wide on the outside again, though, through turns 3 and 4. And Berry's back into the lead. To the inside goes Sammy Smith. Moves Berry up the hill, out of the way, and Sammy Smith to the lead. Sammy Smith extra aggressive on the restart to the outside to get by John Hunter Nemechek. Then the next lap to the inside uses the bump and run on Josh Berry. And Sammy Smith has his first lead of the night with 18 to go in stage 2. Surprised he got the outside to stick as well as he did the corner before. He had tried that a couple times, trying to catch Nemechek towards the end of stage 1. There was contact between Berry and Smith, and I think that's why Smith used the bumper to get back to Berry. I didn't realize there was contact that knocked the 18 car loose in 1 and 2. He definitely locked the tires trying to get to Berry's back bumper in 3 and 4. Hopefully those tires hold up for him, though. Now with Nemechek up to 2nd as John Hunter will get by Josh Berry. Berry on about 17 lap older tires from the end of stage 1 when he pitted during the first caution of the race. Crazy moves being made, though, by Sammy Smith in the 18. That was wild.
Josh Berry gave it a little bit, so you had to anticipate I'm probably going to get it back. He's settled in 3rd. And he about Berry.
And he did a good job getting the lead, but his teammate John Hunter Nemechek...
Oh, and Nemechek into the inside of Sammy Smith, making contact door to door as they battle for the lead again. John Hunter Nemechek now trying to retake the race lead for the first time at stage 2. Lost that track position at the beginning of the stage on a restart. Slides into the 18 again. Nemechek is using his teammate up 2 corners in a row. Sammy Smith now going to try to cross the 20 car over down to the inside. No contact back that time around. Nemechek holds on to the lead off of turn 4. 12 to go in stage 2. Josh Berry's closed the gap on the JGR Toyotas in front of him after they have battled for a couple corners in a row. John Hunter Nemechek quickly trying to drive away. He's probably had the fastest car in the field today. Took him a little bit to get back to the lead after losing track position. And now Josh Berry putting the bumper to the 18 car of Sammy Smith. Couldn't move him out of the way as they go for 2nd place still with 11 to go in the stage. And a big line of cars behind both the 18 and the 8 who battle for position.
Guys, an important note on the 18 of Sammy Smith, this may be only his 2nd start here at Martinsville, but last year in the fall race, he was leading with 2 laps to go, and the biggest thing he said he learned was how to be aggressive at this race, and you saw that a little bit with the pass on Josh Berry. His crew chief Jeff Mendering said aggression is something Sammy Smith does not lack.
I'll say this too, this is only the 3rd track he's been to a 2nd time. Daytona, Phoenix where he won, and now Martinsville. Expectations high for the high school senior, 18 years old, out of Johnston, Iowa.
Well, he's got his work cut out for him now. He's got Josh Berry, great short track racer behind him. What I'm very impressed with Josh Berry right now, remember, he is on 20-lap older tires, and he's passing Sammy Smith, or trying to pass Sammy Smith right now with newer tires.
Definitely faster, Joey.
When that car gets new tires on it, look out, the 8 car is fast.
I'm surprised Sammy hasn't been able to drive away. I wonder if Joey used his tires up making those moves or spun them. So I really thought he would drive away from the 8 car.
And look who's waiting behind him. Cole Custer is there. Daniel Hemrick has shown that he has a fast race car. And Brandon Jones gives some love to the 9. His move to Junior Motorsports has not been fruitful. Still looking for his first top 10 of the season, but coming to a track where he's got so much confidence, and he's in the game with 7 to go, stage 2.
You said Brandon Jones, this might be his best racetrack. Here in Phoenix is 2 of his best racetracks, capitalizing on it right now, and he needs a good run.
I know who likes all this side-by-side action. John Hunter Nemechek. He has drove away with 5 laps to go on the stage to almost a 2-second lead.
Yeah, keep going.
Says, I'll take another stage run, guys. Keep going.
The battle behind him, though, is fun to watch, man. There's so much going on. These guys are bumper to bumper. It was 6 to go. We talked about patience before the race started. And 5 to go in the stage. How aggressive are you willing to be? Because you got to know it's going to come back to you later.
Yeah, here's the battle for that one stage point, 10th place. And these guys are going at it here. See Derek Kraus, Austin Hill, side by side.
Austin on the older tires as well.
He's hung in there pretty well, especially when you consider early in this last run, he jumped to the outside and was riding it hard out there.
And remember, before the cycle started, he was 14th. So if he just holds here in 11th, he netted out 3 positions from that gamble. I would say that's a win.
Josh Berry's going to be the biggest winner on that gamble for sure.
What a night for Joe Gibbs Racing. Got 2 of the top 3 with Nemechek, Sammy Smith, and Ryan Truex.
Recovering.
Starting to work his way to the front. 7th right now, trying to hold off Riley Herbst. 3 to go in the stage.
Ryan's running this unique line that we see work when the track starts to take rubber. We run really high in the concrete where it doesn't have the rubber, and you're able to get that grip in this turn down right here. And you see it, Joey gets that big run down the straightaway to clear Riley Herbst.
Yeah, the rubber's not like a good thing, right? You may think, well, look at this. Cole Custer laying the bumper to Sammy Smith here. Able to push him off the corner. That's what you want to do, right? That shows strength. You're able to do that, get door to door with him here. And if he can outbrake him, he's going to have control, which is going to be kind of tough to do here.
Would you?
We're on the final lap of Stage 2. Side-by-side battle for 3rd place between Cole Custer and Sammy Smith. Daniel Hemrick just behind him, waiting for one of them to potentially make a mistake. At the front of the field, John Hunter Nemechek has checked out to a 2.5-second lead over Josh Berry, who retook 2nd place a few laps ago. Custer clears Sammy Smith off turn 4 for 3rd. John Hunter Nemechek will sweep the stages tonight at Martinsville, winning Stage 1 and Stage 2, his 3rd stage win of the year now. Remember, Corey Himes swept the stages last night in the truck race before getting the race win. Can John Hunter Nemechek do it in the Xfinity race here today? Josh Berry finishes 2nd in Stage 2, Cole Custer 3rd, Sammy Smith 4th, Daniel Hemrick 5th, Brandon Jones 6th, Ryan Truex 7th, Riley Herbst 8th, Chandler Smith 9th, and Derek Kraus rounds out the top 10. In the 2nd stage, just under an hour of racing already in, and we are about halfway home. 121 laps complete out of 121 laps complete, 129 still to go out of the scheduled 250 laps. I think it's going to be between John Hunter Nemechek and Josh Berry. I was debating on picking one of these two to win the race today, and I was kind of flipping a coin in my head. I didn't actually flip a coin on it, but I was flipping a coin in my head on whether I'd take Nemechek or Berry. I went with John Hunter just because the Toyotas have been really good at this racetrack over the last couple of years. Other than Josh Berry, it's been pretty much JGR. I mean, you look at last season, Ty Gibbs ran really well both races here. Brandon Jones won the spring race here. I remember the season before that, Daniel Hemrick in the fall race in 2021 ran really, really well, competed for a win, finished a close 2nd, then ended up obviously winning the championship the next week at Phoenix. And both the JGR Toyotas right now, John Nemechek and Sammy Smith showing out. They've both led laps, and even Ryan Truex in the 19 is up in 7th. He's done a great job in the part-time role he's had. I think he was only scheduled to run 6 races in that 19 car this year, and he's already finished in the top 5 in the first 2 and looking to go 3 for 3 today. Trying to get himself potentially a full-time ride with that team or maybe another team in the Xfinity Series next season. He's definitely showing out. Good equipment. Got to give credit where credit's due, and he's doing a great job. Josh Berry's a short track king. He is definitely very good on the short tracks. Threat to win every single time. And it's going to be him and the 20, I think, going toe-to-toe in this final stage. John Hunter Nemechek has wasted no time, and he doesn't care who the car is in front of him. He has been using that bumper every step of the way. And you wonder if that aggression may come back to bite him later in the race. If it comes down to a late battle, but also if he's in second in the late battle, you'd have to imagine he's going to obviously continue to use the aggressiveness, and it's worked out for him so far to get the first 2 stage wins of the day. And that was even after restarting a little further back in the field this time versus where he qualified at the start of the race to get towards the front for stage 1. We'll be seeing some pit stops at stage 2. These teams will be able to make it on fuel to the end of the race, so if we do somehow go caution-free in the final stage, these could be the final pit stops, but I doubt that will be the case, so probably not the final stop of the race today, but could be. Wow. A lot of damage there on Justin Allgaier. Sheldon Creed went to block him on the straightaway. There was a lot of damage there on the left front fender of the 7 car.
Very good. This run, though, it fired off good. The problem is after 10 laps, he's too tight. He needs an adjustment for that. And the 8 car, Josh Berry, he loves to turn in his race car, but now he needs a little bit of rear grip on the exit with the drive to help that out. Josh?
Well, the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek swept stages 1 and 2, said he's pretty happy with that car, said he needs just a little bit more drive off to be perfectly happy with it. The 18 of Sammy Smith saying that last adjustment freed him up way too much. He said, tightening back up to where we had in stage 1.
The all-important race off pit road. Nemechek gonna hold serve here. Sammy Smith comes off second. Brandon Jones, great work from the 19 plus 3. Custer falls to 4th, and Berry lost 3 positions in that exchange.
Couple teams going no tires with the pit stop. I don't think that's correct, because Custer had to have taken tires when you consider the fact that he lost a spot on pit road. Queuing up Sammy Smith from the FS1 booth.
We saw your heart rate at over 183 beats per minute. Pretty incredible. We're curious, what do you need to keep it up there for the rest of the race?
Yeah, thank you. It was really good that first stage. The track rubbered up. I tightened it up a little bit, or freed it up a little bit, and just got too free there in the second stage. So we got it back, I think. Hopefully our car's fast for Xfinity 10G, and we can go give our team here a run.
Well, awesome racing. You're down to 144 now with the heart rate, but glad you're getting the car tuned in. Can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
This kid's impressive. And his crew chief, Jeff Mindering, won this race a year ago with Brandon Jones, so he's got some confidence.
Willy Wonka, thanks for tuning into the stream. Earl Arnold Jr., also, thank you for tuning in. I'll get that final diecast for you guys out for the showing here at the end of stage 2. I got to get another one because I showed off the Terry Labonte diecast. Now I just got to figure out which one I'm going to grab. We'll just keep it with the Terry Labonte. I mean, why not? Terry Labonte, for whatever reason, I decided to show his diecast off tonight. So we have the Got Milk paint scheme from 2003. We've got the classic Terry Labonte Kellogg's paint scheme. This is from 1996. Monte Carlo. Slicker paint scheme, I'd probably say. I'm sure a lot of people in the chat really love this Kellogg's paint scheme, the Cornflakes paint scheme. Terry Labonte always... I'd argue he was the king of paint schemes when it came to the late 90s into the early 2000s. He had a lot of good ones. And this one, obviously, a classic. Try to center it up with the camera a little better for you guys. Classic Terry Labonte. Cornflakes. Tell you what, a lot of people might complain cornflakes are brand. But because of this diecast, I loved cornflakes as a kid. I will tell you guys that much. Yeah, honestly, this is one of my favorite diecasts I have. This is a very slick paint scheme. Texas Terry. Looking at some of the contingency sponsors on here. I'm looking to see like how many of them are out of business. That's why I'm looking at the contingencies. I'm like, all right, which one of these aren't a thing anymore? I don't think I can really find one, honestly. Mini wheats. Look at how old the Quaker State sponsor is too on the left rear corner panel of the car. So you know how old it is. Race summary up to this point, 129 laps in out of 250. 5 different leaders, 5 lead changes amongst them. 4 cautions. This is the 4th of the race. During the competition caution, we have 33 cars on the lead lap as of right now. John Hunter Nemechek sweeping the stages, so he will receive the most stage points of any driver tonight. Cole Custer, Sammy Smith was 16, both tied for the second most. And the 08 car of Greg Galding got the free pass during this stage break caution. About to get back to racing here to start stage 3. And we will see what will come about. John Hunter Nemechek on the outside of row 1 for the restart, so he did not elect the bottom. He elects the top. This will be interesting. Sammy Smith will be on the inside of row 1. JGR Toyotas lead the field to the green, and we're back to racing. Great launch on the outside by John Hunter. He'll quickly get down to the bottom, so he chose the outside. First driver we've seen do that so far today, and worked out perfectly for him. Cole Custer is door-to-door for second place with Sammy Smith on the outside of the 18 car, and Josh Berry side-by-side with his teammate Brandon Jones, who is underneath him in a battle for 4th. Nemechek picking up where he left off from stage 2, leading the first lap of stage 3. Everybody came into the pits. Nobody stayed out during the stage break. Everybody had at least 60 laps, if not more, on their tires, depending on whether they pitted before the end of the stage prior or not. Sammy Smith running the 0-0, a little bit off the bottom. Contact made in the center of turns 3 and 4. Brandon Jones was able to clear his teammate Josh Berry for 4th. And Berry now losing a couple more spots to Daniel Hemrick and Riley Herbst that last lap as he now falls to 7th in front of Derek Krause on the 10. Custer and Smith have been side-by-side for a while. Custer getting a great drive off. Sammy Smith hanging on that left rear corner panel. Gets a bump from behind, though, by the 9 car. And that allowed him to not be able to stay to the inside of the 0-0. So Custer's back into P2.
Spotters. I'll tell you, we've been talking
Barry losing even more on the outside. And we have a caution.
Of the night. Ryan Ellis is a part of the equation, so is Joe Graff Jr. 40.
Hard impact for Joe Graff Jr. Heavy damage to the front of his race car. Ryan Ellis got taken with him. Joe Graff Jr.'s front end is completely bashed in. First caution of stage 3 and caution number 5 total on the night. Heavy sparks on the left front tire that is down on Ryan Ellis's race car. So Josh Berry had Parker Retzlaff underneath of him. Looked like Berry just overdrove the corner. Overdrove the corner. Tried to get out of the way when he was 3 wide on the outside so he didn't get pinched into the wall and lost a handful of positions. And the contact further back in the pack, very hard hit for the 38 car of Joe Graff Jr. He hit head on into the wall after getting T-boned there by the 43 car. Went up the hill. I don't know if he had contact from underneath him or what exactly happened there.
The reason being, though, was because he was on the splitter. That was the report as soon as the caution came out from Josh.
Wow, I mean, that's like way on the splitter there. It almost seems like there might be a tire down or something to be that bad.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, maybe the right front's flat here?
I mean, the whole car, look how low it is.
The car does look very low right here.
Keep this thought in mind. Dash for cash on the line tonight. The 2 drivers from Junior Motorsports. having problems. Justin Allgaier 20.
And John Hunter Nemechek leading the dash for cash and leading the race as we run right now. Up to this point in the race, he has led the most laps, 90 laps led. He's definitely had the superior car of the night and trying to capitalize on it with the W. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not already. You're watching tonight's race live on KRC for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Martinsville and the running to the call811.com before you dig 250. And we'll take a quick break here and get back to the action. We'll have a restart coming your way shortly. Our goal is 100 likes on the stream tonight, by the way, and we just hit that during the truck race right at the end of the stream last time. We're at 75 likes for today's race so far. Gonna go put that die cast away real quick. Honestly, I'm enjoying this race so far today. I think it's one of the better Xfinity Series races of the season. Been a pretty good one so far. A lot of bold moves being made, but not any over-aggression, really. Very few cautions in this one, just 3 of them for incident to this point. We're past halfway, so that's good. Hopefully that keeps up. And had a pretty good race so far. 4 Dash for Cash drivers, and we're the running right now. John Hunter Nemechek is in the race lead. Sammy Smith is in 3rd place. Justin Allgaier is trying to find him on the leaderboard. He is 32nd, and Josh Berry is 33rd. So both Allgaier and Berry came onto pit road during that last caution. Berry was dragging the splitter, so we'll have to see him try to come from the back. Running out of time to get all that track position back, though. It's going to be very difficult. John Hunter Nemechek's probably biggest competitor for the win tonight being Josh Berry going that far back in the field. As long as Nemechek can nail these restarts, it's going to be tough for any one of these drivers to try to keep up with him. We should still have one more pit stop left today. Everybody can make enough fuel to the end of the race, but if we get enough laps on these tires and then a caution comes out, they're definitely going to want to change them because we saw tires making a big difference during just having 20 lap older tires than the rest of the field earlier. We only ran about 4 or 5 laps before that caution, so everybody staying out of the pits here. So I think most of these teams only have 1 set left, maybe 2, but I'm going to guess probably only 1 set left to the end. So definitely don't want to use them right now. iRacing 413, thanks for tuning in. John Hunter for the win. Yeah, he's had the dominant car. It's been the 2nd race, I'll predict, right, for the Xfinity Series this season. I think the only one I've gotten right so far was Austin Hill winning at Atlanta. I think that was the only Xfinity race I predicted right so far this year. So John Hunter going to pick the bottom this time. He picked the outside the last time it worked out for him. Picks the bottom. It works for him as well. I don't think it matters. John Hunter Nemechek's just so good on the race starts, getting through the gears. Looked like Sammy Smith on the outside of the front row may have spun the tires just a little bit. Cole Custer will get underneath him for 2nd. And good job by Brandon Jones getting to the inside for 4th place as well. As he runs right in line behind the 00 on the 18. Sammy Smith on the outside. It was a good battle for second between himself and Custer earlier. Custer leans on the 18 a little bit. In the middle of turns 1 and 2, there's slight contact that's going to allow John Hunter to pull away just a little bit more that last lap. Oh, big stack up and a crash on the back straightaway. 3 cars involved. We get about 2 laps in and another caution. Looks like the 45, 07, and 28. Kyle Sieg, Leland Honeyman, and Dawson Cram all involved. 91 of Alex LeBay's got a little bit of damage also. So at least 4 cars with pretty decent damage. Dawson Cram doesn't have a lot, but he stalled out on the back straightaway, so he's going to lose at least a lap here as they try to get it back going again. Not sure what happened. It looked like the 07 had a problem in the middle of the corner, and they all stacked up behind him. Yeah, I don't know if it was a mechanical failure or something on Dawson Cram's car, but he slowed down right in the middle of the corner. So slow that he just got ran into from everybody who was on the inside behind him. And if you were on the inside behind Dawson Cram, you're kind of in no way to try to get out of that. Cram's climbing out of his car. I wonder if the car shut off on him in the middle of the corner. Tough break to be any one of those drivers behind him. Josh Berry and Justin Allgaier, who were at the rear of the field, obviously, after pitting that last restart. Very lucky to have missed that.
Mount the right front tire. It was a valve stem issue. It knocked it off the bead. So once that happens, you got to go back to Goodyear and put that tire back on the bead. Once they do that, as long as it holds air, they will have this scuff set down here that they can put on as the race plays out.
Yeah, it's interesting because that car is bouncing a lot, Joey. It seems like there might be something more going on here. I can't be 100% sure. But a tire to come off the bead like that, it's not something you see very often, at least not with these Goodyear tires. They're usually really good at holding on the bead on these types of
I think he was
tracks.
saying he had a valve stem issue there, so you put it on another wheel. It's a set of scuffs, so I mean, he got 1 lap on him, so it's still pretty good.
Tomorrow, the NASCAR.
Yep. Cup Series racing in Martinsville tomorrow. I'm sure a lot of you guys know. You can tune in for that race right here. The race will be on Fox Sports 1, so if you're unable to watch, you definitely want to tune in for our live race commentary stream. Got 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard start time for our live stream, and the drop of the green flag is scheduled for 3:01 tomorrow afternoon, so we'll go live about a half hour before the start of the race, get all the pre-race predictions in on time. We'll have a little less than 100 laps to go in this race on the Go Green. We had back-to-back cautions to start this final stage. Only about 4 green flag laps in the final stage have been ran so far. I think they have a drivers-only broadcast for the Talladega Xfinity race next weekend. The plan is for me to be at Talladega next week, so no live commentary streams at all for the Xfinity or the Cup Series. And you can plan on there being race highlight videos from the grandstands from the ARCA race on Saturday, the Xfinity race Saturday, and then the Cup race on Sunday. Yeah, there's not a lot of Fords in the Xfinity Series. Honestly, there wasn't a lot of Fords in the Truck Series last year either until ThorSport moved over to Ford. They added 4 more Ford teams because I think there was only like 3 or 4 before that. Got 76 likes on the stream right now. Appreciate that from everybody. Our goal is 100. We've got over 100 people watching, so hit that like button. Let's get to our goal here as soon as we can. With this caution flag coming out, Patrick Emmerling will get the free pass to get back on the lead lap at 31st. Caden Honeycutt out of the race after an engine failure. Joe Graff Jr. is out of the race after his hard impact into the wall in the caution before the one we have now. And then from this recent incident, Dawson Cram is out of the race. Kyle Sieg will more than likely be out of the race as well. And potentially Leland Honeyman will continue. I don't think he had too much damage on his race car. Kyle Sieg was involved in that caution. Or not Kyle Sieg. Who was in the yellow before that with Joe Graff? Patrick Emerly? I think it was him. He's only a lap down. And he got the free pass at this caution, so believe he was involved in it. Allgaier and Barry moved to 25th and 26th on the restart. I don't know what's going to be better for Allgaier and Barry, is if we get a lot of cautions and they take advantage on the restarts, or getting a long green flag run to at least get by all the cars that they're faster than to get back in the top 10, especially for Barry probably having the second fastest car in the field today, maybe at least one that could compete for the win with John Hunter on speed. But obviously running more laps under caution rather than under green flag conditions, if we get a lot of yellows, you'd have to imagine they're going to have less time to try to get up there. Teams really only have maybe 5 laps on their tires so far, with the couple of quick cautions to start the final stage, so not seeing the teams throw their last set of tires on the cars yet. Sounds like Jeb Burton and Chandler Smith having a little feuding going on. At least comparing that based off of what they're communicating with their team on the radios. Some tempers maybe. Middle of this race. I don't think it'll boil over. It shouldn't. We were watching the 2007 Spring Martinsville Cup race for our Throwback Thursday live stream this week, and Pablo Montoya dumped Tony Raines in that race, got upset the way he was raced in the late going in that one, and I honestly didn't know that happened. I forgot that it had happened. I watched that race. I can definitely remember the finish of it before rewatching it today, but I forgot about that Montoya Tony Raines 1 week feud. I'm assuming it was 1 week. Short track tempers for sure. They've not gotten the 1-to-go signal yet. Down to 97 laps to go under the caution. God rides a Hardly. Thanks for tuning in. Yep, the goal is 100. And we are at 83. We're getting closer. A little less than 100 to go. Laps go by pretty quickly at Martinsville under green flag conditions, so if we can get back to racing here and get a longer green flag run, this race will click by very, very swiftly. Takes 249 lap. Get the lap counts. Oh yeah, get to the yeah. Misread your post in the chat. They will be getting the choose and the 1-to-go signal this time. And Nemechek will take the bottom, I believe. He took the outside once and it worked out for him. And then ended up taking the bottom on the last restart. It takes the inside again for this one. So row 1 of the restart will be John Hunter Nemechek and Sammy Smith. Then Cole Custer, Daniel Hemrick in row 2. Brandon Jones, Riley Herbst, row 3. Chandler Smith, Derek Kraus, row 4. And then Jeb Burton, Ryan Truex in row 5. Again, 31 cars on the lead lap. About an hour and a half into the race, and we'll have 95 laps to go when they go green. Set up a boxing ring for after the race for any off-track. Yeah. The school bully. I'll meet you in the park at 3 o'clock. Be there. Meet you in the garage lot. 3 o'clock. Be there. Green flag back in the air. Nemechek gets another great launch on the restart. He has been clearing cars every single time before getting into the first couple corners. That's exactly what happens here. Brandon Jones slides the rear tires off turn 2. Stacked up Jeb Burton behind him. He's going to be 3 wide middle into 3 and 4. Chandler Smith underneath. Blindside move by Chandler Smith as he gets into the 9 and the 98 to the outside. They both clear Brandon Jones. The 98 quickly gets down to the bottom. Great move by him, filling up that hole. Getting down in front of Chandler Smith, and Riley Herbst is back inside the top 5. Cole Custer, Sammy Smith battling for second as they've done the last 2 restarts, making 3 in a row. Sammy Smith on the outside again, and Cole Custer again on the bottom. Daniel Hemrick behind them, and quickly a 7/10 of a second lead for John Hunter Nemechek at the front of the field. Jeb Burton gets to the inside of Brandon Jones now. After the 16 car was able to clear Jones, Burton clears the 9. Doesn't look like Brandon Jones is getting a good drive off on the outside. He was very good on the bottom when he moved into the top 5. Cole Custer body slams the 18 car through turns 3 and 4, but Smith still hanging on the right rear quarter panel of Custer down the front stretch and into turns 1 and 2. Smith has probably done a better job than most on the outside lane today, and he's doing a better job again here as he lost the 1 position to Custer finally. Hemrick will get to the inside of the 18, but Smith is going to have to get to the bottom quickly or he's going to lose a bunch of positions. Gets a good drive off the exit of turn 4. Dives down to the bottom lane, throwing a block on the 11 on the front stretch, and hangs on to 3rd place as Hemrick can't get to the bumper of the 18. So Sammy Smith back into 3rd place. Couple car lengths behind Cole Custer, who is up to 2nd. And we'll see if anybody has anything here for John Hunter Nemechek as we're down to 90 laps to go in a race that Nemechek has obliterated the field, really. He's led over 100 of the 160 laps. He won the first 2 stages. Now he's trying to go on and win the race. Nobody side-by-side for position at all in the top 10. I think you got to go back to Ryan Truex and Sheldon Creed to find the first couple cars side-by-side. Well, never mind. Now we have side-by-side between Hemrick and Smith. Hemrick got to the inside of the 18 car. As they battle for 3rd, Riley Herbst all over the back bumper of the 11 on the inside lane as Herbst is trying to move up to 4th. Austin Hill did not get as many stage points as Riley Herbst today. And we've got a spinner. Josh Williams is around bringing out our 3rd caution of stage 3 and our 7th caution of the race. Flat left rear tire on the 92 car of Williams. And it was flat before he had gotten into the corner and then ended up spinning. So flat left rear tire for Josh Williams, bringing out our 7th caution of the race. Have to imagine that came because of contact. He's running right around 20th. Sammy Smith scored ahead of Riley Herbst when the caution flag came out, so he'll be in 4th. And Nemechek, who pulled away off that last restart, will have the field bunched up again. Still keeping an eye on Josh Berry and Justin Allgaier. They only gained a couple spots each on that last restart. Restarted 25th, 26th, and got to 22nd and 23rd. It's going to be a very, very difficult time for them to try to make up this time. Will we see cars pit this time around? Pit road is open. Nobody in the top 5 hits pit road at least. Nope. Justin Allgaier coming into the pits. For 22nd, he'll take on fresher tires. He wasn't gaining a lot of ground before that.
And this is the situation for Justin Allgaier. He didn't have any track position before, so go ahead and throw him on.
Jim Pullman is new crew chief, and they've shown a few times this year they're not afraid to roll the dice, play the game. Josh?
Yeah, Justin Allgaier coming in right now and trying to make a move so that he's going to get 4 tires and fuel and see if he can make a run towards the end of this race, guys.
7 on pit road. Good news, the 07 Dawson Cram has been released from the care center. 86 laps to go. Going to be right around 80 when we get the restart. Nemechek, Custer, Hemrick, Sammy Smith.
So there you heard it. About 80 laps to go on the next restart. A few cautions in the early going of Stage 3 here. Everybody stays out of the pits except for a couple cars at the rear end of the lead lap. Justin Allgaier being one of which outside the top 20 coming in. And this caution flag, 43 car, Ryan Ellis will get a lap back. He was 3 down, so he'll be 2 laps down on the restart. Sure be nice to get Jeb Bird in the top 10. It's a possibility that both Jordan Anderson racing cars could get top 10s tonight because both Burton and Retzlaff are in the top 10. Jeb Burton held on for the most part pretty nicely on those old tires. He was running nowhere close to the top 10 before that. Got track position. Fell back, obviously, but was able to maintain right around, I think 12th is where he was at the end of the last stage. So he missed out on some stage points, but now he's got the track positioning. A couple of the JRM cars that were in front of him had gone backwards, so that's what has moved him back inside the top 10. Now he just has to hang on. The only Junior Motorsports Chevrolet that is in the top 10 right now is Brandon Jones in 8th. He was in 4th on the last restart, but lost a bunch of positions, unfortunately. And now he's back at 8th. Sam Mayer's 11th. Allgaier just pitted, and then obviously Josh Berry's still back in 22nd place after making that unscheduled pit stop at the start of Stage 3 under that first caution we had in the stage. Nemechek has led all but 46 laps in today's race of the 167 that we have ran so far out of 250. Getting the 1 to go signal this time by onto the choose rule on the front stretch. Row 1 on the restart will be John Hunter Nemechek and Cole Custer. Row 2 for the restart will be Daniel Hemrick and Sammy Smith. Riley Herbst and Chandler Smith will be in row 3. Derek Kraus, Brandon Jones in row 4. And then Parker Retzlaff and Jeb Burton in row 5. Nemechek has been a master on these restarts so far. We'll see if he'll do it again. Into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. As we are down to just 82 laps to go. 82 laps to go, excuse me. Riley Herbst spun his tires on the inside of row 3. Stacked up the bottom just a little bit, getting down into turn 1. He holds his positioning underneath the 16 car of Chandler Smith, though still by the exit of turn 2. Nemechek is cleared. Cole Custer drives it in deep into 3, trying to stay to the inside of the 20. Couldn't do it. But by doing that, he was able to clear the 11 car of Daniel Hemrick for second, so maybe now he can try to stay with the 20 instead of having to battle for second full behind and then trying to reel him in. Then Hemrick was able to cycle cleanly in front of Sammy Smith for third. Smith is single file for fourth. And then side by side for fifth still between Riley Herbst and Chandler Smith. Already half a second lead for John Hunter Nemechek over Cole Custer. It's going to be tough for anybody to beat that 20 car today. Chandler Smith and Riley Herbst leaning on each other a little bit off the exit of turn 2. Smith is on the outside of the 98 car. Herbst keeping it off the curbing on the inside. A little bit cleaner of a battle that time through turns 3 and 4. And Herbst will complete the pass. And after he passed him cleanly, he gets a little shot from behind by the 16, getting down into turns 1 and 2. Herbst hangs on to it and remains in 5th. Low line on the back straightaway, a little defensive line by Riley Herbst as he tries to stay in front. Both SHR Fords inside the top 5. Sam Mayer and Parker Retzlaff side by side for 10th place in the back half of the top 10. Mayer was in the top 5 in the early going of the race. Still finished in the top 10 in each of the first 2 stages. Hasn't really ran there for much of this final stage. Contact between Retzlaff and Mayer now. A couple of 19-year-olds getting together in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Tightly off the exit of the corner. Mayer holds the 31 down. Sheldon Creed thinking about 3 wide. He gets there. Contact between the 1 and the 31 getting into turn 3 after the 2 made a dive bomb maneuver to go 3 wide. Retzlaff saw him there. He was trying to give him room. I don't think Mayer realized they were 3 wide on the outside of it. Somehow with the contact, Mayer was able to stay in front of both the 2 and the 31 still. Creed cleared the 31, but he sits behind the 1 car in 11th place. And now we're down to 75 laps to go. I think it was Kaz Growell in the 26 car that scraped the outside wall off the exit of turn 2. Pushing a little bit tight back in traffic. Single file through most of the top 10. Derek Kraus blew turns 3 and 4, made it for an easy pass for Brandon Jones to get by him for 7th. Brandon Jones trying to regroup here after running in the top 5 not that long ago. And Justin Allgaier, who restarted on fresher tires, made himself back up to 24th. He was in 22nd when he pitted. And then Josh Berry has gone from 22nd to 17th on this restart. A lot of cars right in front of him for position as well that are side by side. Berry trying to battle Brett Moffitt and Ryan Sieg currently. Cole Custer still within about 0.6 of a second behind John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek not pulling away quite as much as he did the first couple restarts before those last couple yells, but still maintaining a pretty good lead as long as Custer really can't get to the back bumper of John Hunter Nemechek. And John Hunter could have that little bit of breathing room. I'm sure he'll be comfortable. It's the first career start for Nemechek in the Xfinity Series at Martinsville. He's only made truck starts here before and making a great run of it. Ran part-time in the last couple of seasons for GGR in the Xfinity Series, but never made a start in Martinsville of those. Last lap was ran by Nemechek of a 21.004. Custer ran a 21.098. Brandon Jones, that last lap had about the 3rd fastest lap time than any other driver in the top 10. Only slower than the top 2 at the front of the field. But of course, Jones dealing with a lot more traffic as he battles Chandler Smith for 6th place. Josh Berry getting by Brett Moffitt, Ryan Truex, Ryan Sieg in recent laps, and quickly to the inside of Kaz Grala for 13th. Berry moving forward has had one of the faster cars in the field today. If I had to say, probably the 2nd fastest car, only behind John Hunter Nemechek. Contact made in a battle for 6 between Chandler Smith and Brandon Jones. Jones trying to get back to the gas as soon as he could to stay underneath the 16. Pushed a little bit wide. Put a little donut on the left side door of that 16 car. Derek Kraus starting to close back in on this battle, as the 9 has not been able to pass the 16 yet. Daniel Hemrick and Riley Herbst still fairly close together in a battle for 4th on the track as well. 68 laps remain. Make that 67 at the line. Nemechek about a 10th quicker than Cole Custer the last 2 laps has widened the lead out to nearly 0.8 of a second. Sammy Smith still about 1.3 to 1.4 seconds off the lead. Not quite as quick as the 2 cars in front of him still. Sammy's kind of struggled on the longer runs from time to time in this one. And finally, Brandon Jones is going to make the pass on Chandler Smith. And Derek Kraus now to the inside of his teammate Smith for 7th. Off the curb goes the 10. Trying to keep it off the 16. They maybe made a little bit of contact on the front straightaway. Chandler not really giving his teammate a whole lot of room on the bottom. He's really pinching him off. It's hard to stay off the car to the outside when they're running that tightly on the car down low. Chandler chatters the front tires, getting into the braking zone, though, and turns 3 and 4. He really power slides off the exit of the corner on that outside, though. Good enough drive off to stay in front of the 10 still. 64 laps to go in this one. We'll go through the full field running order right now. John Hunter Nemechek has a 1-second lead over Cole Custer in second place. Sammy Smith is in third. Daniel Hemrick in fourth. Riley Hurst is fifth. Brandon Jones sixth. Chandler Smith in seventh. Derek Kraus eighth. Sam Mayer ninth. And Parker Retzlaff is 10th. Sheldon Creed in 11th. Josh Berry 12th. Jeb Burton 13th. Brett Moffitt 14th. Gaz Grella is 15th. Blaine Perkins 16th. Ryan Truex 17th. Justin Allgaier 18th. Ryan Sieg 19th. And Austin Hill is 20th. Parker Kligerman 21st, Alex Obey 22nd, Jeffrey Earnhardt 23rd, Josh Williams 24th, and Jeremy Clements is 25th. Kyle Weatherman 26th, Greg Alding 27th, Matt Mills in 28th, Patrick Emmerling 29th, and Leland Honeyman is 30th. Last car in the lead lap is Anthony Alfredo in 31st. Ryan Ellis is 32nd, 3 laps down. Brendan Poole is in 33rd place. 34th is Connor Mosack, Kyle Sieg 35th, Dawson Cramp 36th, Joe Graff Jr. 37th. And Caden Honeycutt 38th. 5 cars out of the race already, by the way, from 34th on back is out. Ryan Sieg, Ryan Truex on screen during the side-by-side commercial break, battling for position. Sam Mayer, Chandler Smith also side-by-side. Josh Berry got himself up to 12th. He's about 7.2 seconds off the lead. And Allgaier, who has fresher tires than anybody in the field, pitting during that last caution, was the only driver pretty much to pit for fresh tires during that last yellow. In 17. So the hope here for Allgaier is that we get a caution late in the race that he can get some track position back. He's going to try to race hard, obviously, to get as many passes as he can on fresher tires. But if we get a caution that brings most of the field back onto pit road, he will stay out because he does not have another set of tires to put on that race car to the end of this one. He's behind a side-by-side battle right now. Thought about going 3 wide to the bottom before the 0-2 threw a block on him. That was Blaine Perkins. Allgaier will now get by Gralla in the 26. Clears him into turns 3 and 4. Right behind the Ollie's 0-2 car of Perkins. Nemechek still at about a 1.1 second lead over Custer. Custer actually was about a half a tenth quicker that last lap than Nemechek. One car just leaving pit road looked like it was Connor Mosack, who's already a couple laps down. Had to make another unscheduled pit stop, it appears. Right in front of the leaders, he'll let them go on the front straightaway. Derek Kraus and Chandler Smith have been battling for 7th place for a long time with each other. Kraus has been close to clearing him a couple times, and now puts the bumper to him. Getting down into turns 1 and 2. Gets back to the inside of the 16. And here comes Josh Berry behind both of them after getting, during the commercial break, inside the top 10. Josh Berry is cut through the field. Now to the inside of Chandler Smith. A big block by the 10 of Kraus. Berry squeezes 3 wide underneath both, and he bangs both of those colleague racing race cars up the track, and Josh Berry's up to 8th. Retzlaff moves by the 16 car of Chandler Smith for position as well. And that's going to drop the race winner from 2 weeks ago, Chandler Smith, outside the top 10. Josh Berry making some moves in the 8 car. He's got pretty much equal tires as everybody else through the field. He's still 7 seconds off the lead, and he's about a second and a half behind Sam Mayer, who is the next driver for position up in front of him. Berry's done a great job to try to get a recovery and at least get a good finish out of the race car. Those brakes are glowing quite a bit out of the 10 car of Derek Kraus. Wow. They're very bright. And obviously under the nighttime skies with the lights on the racetrack probably amplifies how much glow there is from the brakes at a track like this. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. And yep, Chase Elliott will be back tomorrow. Brandon Jones, Riley Herbst in a battle for 5th place on track. 4 seconds roughly off the race lead. Jones gives a little tap to the back of the 98 off the exit turn 2, letting him know he's there. I'm sure Herbst is well aware that he's there, but Nemechek struggling to get by the 43 car, Ryan Ellis. A lot of lap traffic in front of the 20, and it's allowed Cole Custer to cut the gap down to about 0.7 of a second off the lead. It was a 1.2 second lead not that long ago. But there definitely is a lot of long line lap traffic in front of Nemechek. We haven't seen a lot of lap traffic for the leaders today. Really, you got to go back to stage 1 when we went 36 laps caution-free to start the race. That was the longest green flag run of the day up to this point. We restarted with 82 laps to go, and now we're down to 49 laps to go as we speak. Make that 48 now with the line, so this is quickly approaching our longest green flag run of the day. 2 lap cars between the top 2 at the front of the field for right now. Nemechek is now stuck behind the 53 car. Off the exit of turn 2, Custer got to get by Ellis. Battle for third on track between Sammy Smith and Daniel Hemrick. Hemrick towards the outside, trying to get the undercut in the corner. Great drive off by Hemrick, an incredible move to get to the inside of Sammy Smith. Drives it really deep into the corner, slides up in front of the 18, and Sammy Smith struggling on the long run as he's done throughout the course of today's race. Only really the second long green flag run of the day. And we're seeing the 18 kind of slowly drop back now, and Daniel Hemrick within 2 seconds of the lead in third. Brandon Jones has finally cleared the 98 of Riley Herbst to move himself back into the top 5 and 5th. Josh Berry from 7.3 seconds off the lead has cut the lead down to 5.5 seconds now. Still in the 8th place position though, and still about a second off of Mayer in 7th. Half a second lead now for Nemechek over Custer. Custer getting through the lap traffic a little bit better than the 20 car. Custer going to get by another one into turns 1 and 2 as he closes the gap even more on Nemechek. Josh Berry was the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap, dropped to 21.393. Your race leader, Nemechek, ran a 21.468. So Berry about a 10th quicker than the leaders. He's not going to have enough laps to get there under green flag conditions, but if we get a late race yellow and he can pick up a couple more spots before a late race caution, Josh Berry is very much in this race. Although if we get another caution, we'll probably see pit stops for tires, considering all these teams have one more set left. Berry, who made that pit stop at the beginning of the stage, only had about 1 lap on his tires, so if he were to put the scuffs on, they'd be relatively just as fresh as everybody else that would change tires. But if we don't have a lot of laps left in the race, though, you almost wonder if you even want to change tires. Parker Rutzlaff has lost a couple positions in recent laps. He battled Sheldon Creed for 11th, and Justin Allgaier just moved past the 25 car on the outside through turns 1 and 2, moving himself to 13th. He's right behind the battle between Creed and Rutzlaff, who are side by side right in front of the 7. Allgaier's got the freshest tires in the field because he pitted during the most recent yellow, and we've got a caution late in this race. The 51 car has blown a right front tire. And it may even be the suspension, really, that broke on the 51 car because the way the angling of that right front tire is, it is almost as if he broke maybe something in the right front. Pretty hard hit into the wall for Clements, and this will bring out our 8th caution of the race. That will put an end to the longest green flag run of the day, which was just over 40 laps. And we're probably going to be seeing everybody hit pit road except for Justin Allgaier. Remember, he had already hit pit road, and he is going to more than likely stay out because he would have to put scuffs on to the end. And his scuffs and Josh Berry's scuffs a little different. Berry's only going to have 1 lap on those scuffed tires, where Allgaier would probably have at least, 20 laps on him? So, yeah. It's going to be tough for Allgaier. He hasn't really had top 5 speed today. Wow. I wonder if it was a brake failure on the 51. There was a lot of flames coming out of that right front. So, looked like the brake line was on fire as he rolled into turns 1 and 2. A mechanical issue for Jeremy Clements. And this will likely take him out of the race. The leaders onto pit road for the final time today.
Pit stops are huge, Regan.
Well, Adam, the word from Jonathan Toney, Cole Custer's crew chief, was to tell him exactly what he needed to be a little bit better at the end. He said, just get me a little bit better on entries. Just still a little free with the 00 car. And the 8 car of Josh Berry has been ripping his way through the field. Very quick lap times. Said the car's good, just needs to be a little bit tighter. Josh?
Hunter Nemechek has been dominant all night long, been asking for a little more drive off, said it's been better after that last adjustment. They don't want to do too much to affect what he's got as far as the 11 of Daniel Hemrick. He just needs right side air pressure to help him with drive off.
All got to stay out. Of course, he's on those older tires, didn't have any left. Race off pit road, 20 teams gotten it done tonight.
Easily, John Hunter Nemechek wins the race off pit road. Cole Custer will be second and then Daniel Hemrick third. Allgaier stayed out of the pit, so he'll be the leader on the restart, but he's going to have about 40-plus lap older tires. It's going to be very tough for him to hang on for these final just less than 40 laps to the end of the race. Best thing for Allgaier, we get a bunch of cautions because otherwise he's going to get eaten alive by this field on fresher tires behind him. It's going to be a fun race to the finish. You won't want to miss a thing. You're watching the Call811.com before you dig 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Martinsville live on KRC tonight, and we will take you to the finish of this one. This will be our final ad break of the evening. Brains in top, thanks for tuning in. The late going to this one. Kenneth Clark also welcome into the stream. Our goal was 100 likes for the stream tonight, and as of right now, we are at 89 with about 130 plus people watching right now, so be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We'll have live race commentary for tomorrow's Cup race. Our coverage begins at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow afternoon, and not only that, but that race will be on Fox Sports 1, so if you're unable to watch it, you definitely want to tune in for the coverage of that 400-lap Martinsville Cup race. So it'll be a fun one. Martinsville, always a good show. Pretty good Xfinity Series race so far tonight, and hopefully it doesn't get too out of hand here. Got a late race caution. We watched the 2007 spring race at Martinsville for a Throwback Thursday live stream this week, and I remember Darrell Waltrip saying that the more cautions you get, the more cautions you get. Hopefully, the more cautions we get here, the more cautions we don't get. But probably won't be the case. I hope I am wrong in saying that, and we can get a lot of green flag racing in here. I believe Alex LeBay stayed out of the pits as well, so that will help Allgaier just a little bit, having that one extra car stay out. I think he pitted during one of the cautions and put his last set of tires on, so that might be why LeBay stayed out, because he was involved in one of the early cautions in Stage 3, so I don't think he has another set of tires, which is probably why he came in. Or stayed out and didn't come in. So Nemechek in third, who won the race off pit road, will likely be on the inside of row 2. I'd have to imagine LeBay will be on the outside of row 1. But he is going to be stacking up whoever is going to be behind him. I wouldn't want to be behind him on the restart, whether he's inside of row 2 or outside of row 1. I wouldn't want to pick behind him. Unless, obviously, like 3 cars go to the bottom, you'd almost want to go to the top just because you would gain a couple positions there. Yep, Talladega next week for the Xfinity and the Cup Series. Truck Series will be off next week. ARCA, Xfinity, and Cup at Talladega, though, next weekend. I think they go to Kansas the week after, and the Truck Series will be racing there. Either Kansas or Dover after Tega. 1 to go signal this time by. We'll have 33 laps to go in the restart. Allgaier elects the inside for row 1, no surprise. LeBay does go to the outside of row 1. Smart move by Custer. He followed Nemechek down to the bottom, so Daniel Hemrick will be the first car on the outside then, behind the 91 of Alex LeBay. But he was in 5th, so that's a good call. That's kind of what I expected. Out of Custer, it's a smart move because I'd have to imagine the 91 won't take off very well.
On your lap times, just trying to pump you up, buddy. Give you all I can. You got it, buddy. Clean air is king, right? That's right. There's my boy.
Team Communications there with Justin Allgaier trying to pump up his driver. Crew chief trying to pump up the driver here for this late race restart. We'll see if he can hold on at 40 lap older tires. John Hunter Nemechek's been the class of the field tonight. Will he be the first to get to Allgaier? Green flag back in the air. 33 laps to go to decide the winner of this spring Martinsville Xfinity Day race. LeBay spins the tires on the outside. Huge wad up on the outside lane, stacking up Hemrick and Brandon Jones into the first turn as expected. Custer got put 3 wide middle with Sammy Smith getting to the inside of him. And now Nemechek for the lead in turns 3 and 4 gets to the inside of Justin Allgaier. Not going to be able to get the drive off as those drivers on fresher tires. Sammy Smith still door-to-door for third with Custer. Allgaier trying to hang on. He's sliding the rear tires on his entry into 1 and 2, and Nemechek is easily clear. His teammate Sammy Smith has cleared Cole Custer using the 7 as a pick. 3 wide further back with Sheldon Creed, Chandler Smith, and Sam Mayer into the third turn. LeBay's up on the outside in front of Mayer. He's got nowhere to go. Riley Herbst is sandwiched in the middle as Parker Retzlaff now getting in there. Now they're 3 by 3 going through turns 1 and 2 at Martinsville. LeBay gets nearly pinched. Actually, it's really the 98 getting pinched between the 31 and the 91. This guy's trying not to cause a wreck in the late going, but a lot of contact being made in the middle of the pack right now. LeBay on the outside. Herbst is stuck behind him. Moves the 91 out of the way finally. He was losing a ton of spots stuck behind Herbst. It was, I think, outside of row 3 on the restart. And outside of row 4, on the restart. And he ended up losing a lot of ground behind Alex LeBay. He has fallen back to 13th before finally getting around him. Top 3 all nose to tail right now. Nemechek not driving away like he was at the start. And Herbst is around into the outside wall. Sam Mayer's in the inside wall head on. And we've got a late caution with 29 to go. Tough break for Riley Herbst. He was having a great night. He was in the top 5 for most of the day. Got held up on that restart behind LeBay. And then about a lap later, involved in this wreck with Sam Mayer. And Mayer's going to be done as well. He's got heavy damage on the front of his car. Mayer went spinning towards the inside wall off the exit of turn 4. While Herbst ended up backing it hard into the outside wall. It looks like Herbst's day is going to be done as well. As he's got a lot of smoke pouring out of that car. Left front's bashed in quite a bit as well. Showing a replay of what happened here. Ryan Truex took a peek to the inside of the 1, and it looked like Truex hit the 1 and knocked the 1 into the 98. That was not Mayer or Herbst's fault there. I think Ryan Truex, his younger brother, drove it in way too deep and cleaned out both the cars to his outside. Wasn't Riley's fault, wasn't Mayer's fault. That was all on Ryan Truex there. Stuck his nose in a little too late into the corner and just cleaned out the 1 in the 98. It looked like the 1 and Mayer tried to keep his foot in it, trying to save it, and then when he clipped the curb on the inside, it just shot him into the wall. Pretty hard, too. Mayer climbing out of his car under his own power. Some frustration, I'm sure, from Sam. NASCAR Vintage 17, thanks for tuning in. Sam Mayer is flipping the bird at Ryan Truex. They caught it on the camera, too. Fox, I think they had the cam on him, thinking maybe he was gonna throw something. The bird has been given to Ryan Truex for causing that wreck there, and Sam Mayer at the forefront of giving him the bird. Riley Herbst back onto pit road. He'll be going to the infield care center. Top break for both drivers, really, especially Riley Herbst. He's just stuck behind the 91 and lost way too many spots, got put back in the eye of the storm to begin with. And as he was still on the outside. Sam Mayer was underneath him, but then Ryan Truex just tried to take it 3 wide and hit the left rear of Mayer's car, send him up into the 98. Both cars go around hard, heavy damage, and now both drivers knocked out of the race. Ryan Truex continues on in the 12th place position.
This is Martinsville. It doesn't matter what position you're racing for, it's full contact. Custer having a great night, and then they had the long pit stop. This was a long cleanup when Caden Honeycutt had his problem. John Hunter Nemechek gets out the broom, sweeping stage 1 and stage 2. And here in our final stage, had multiple cautions. And we're under the yellow for a 9th time after this. Truex, Mayer, Hurst.
It's 2 big hits. Sam Mayer put down a ton of fluid on the bottom of turn 2. That's going to affect all the restarts from here as well. So I think we got a lot more action left in this race. I know we might only have 23 laps to go, but woo.
Oh, well, anytime you have a late race restart in Martinsville, you can pretty much bet that it's not going to be the last one. I mean, it's just going to
more cautions you get, the more cautions you get.
If you're John Hunter Nemechek, the one thing you're probably not going to see here, lap traffic, right? I mean,
yes.
Not going to get there with 20 to go. So that's the good news for him. Bad news is, as you guys have talked about, cautions breed cautions. So could be a bunch of restarts coming here. And you look at the Dash for Cash drivers. Nemechek in the catbird seat. We know that. Justin Allgaier 4th, but on those older tires, he's got his work cut out for him. Josh Berry's tire situation interesting too. We'll get an update there in a second. Chandler Smith back there in 9th. He's got some ground to make up if he's going to win the $100,000. So Regan, what is the story for Berry and the tires here?
Well, there was a ton of back and forth down here. Took the tire that came off of the right front down to Goodyear, then had to come back and get another rim from one of their older tires that they had run earlier in the race to put on with that tire. The long and the short of it is that is the 2-lap scuff set that they took off earlier that had a flat tire when the valve stem got knocked off. The report from Josh Berry when they put him on, just a little bit tight firing off that last run, but it was coming to him as those tires wore back in.
He's definitely a long-run car. We've seen that through both a couple of junior motorsports cars. It takes a few to get them rolling, and that's not necessarily what you want with 23 laps to go. You're going to have some short runs here, so we'll see. Sounds like we got some radio from the 19 after the wreck.
I didn't make fun of him, whatever that was worth. What happened? I don't. Nothing. If you didn't see it, I'm not going to tell you. Did he give me a salute? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, didn't even see it.
Well, Sam Mayer's not going to like that either when he goes back and rewatches it.
Yeah, if I'm going to be mad at you, I at least want you to see it.
Yeah, at least know that, like, yeah, right?
Mega Mill knows Truex is going to be in that car for the next 4 races. So he's a part-timer, but he is going to be back consistently coming up.
So here's something I think is going to be interesting. We've seen John Hunter Nemechek lead a lot of laps tonight. Obviously a very fast car. He's had control. That's part of the reason why he's had such a fast car. But we've seen a big piece of it come from his launch in the restart.
Yes.
He's been able to get out and out of harm's way every time, except the one time Cole Custer was on his outside. Cole was able to hang with him. Not that he was able to hang with him off of turn 2, but he was able to hang into him side by side into turn 1. I don't know. I mean, I think with Sammy Smith, he's had a hard time hanging with him on the restart. You know, this chooses a little bit of a different game right now. You know, when you think about, you know, if you're Sammy Smith, you can either take the outside on a late race restart, take the front row, not a bad place to be. You take third, and we said it earlier, the opportunity chair at that moment. You can, the opportunity to make a bump and run, or if John Hunter slides up and makes a mistake, you can stick your nose in there and have a chance at it. Either way is not a bad spot to be in, but it'll be an interesting decision to see what he's going to do here.
What's your mental checklist for John Hunter Nemechek, or if you're John Hunter Nemechek right now?
Well, I think to Joey's point, you're thinking double A, how do I get the best launch I can? Do I have my tires clean? Got everything ready, all my switches ready in the car. You've got all these different systems in the car with, the brake fans and alternator switches, and make sure you've got all that stuff ready, and then take care of it. Be ready to go. You got to execute this restart to keep yourself out of harm's way, really, is what I think we're all trying to say here.
Absolutely.
Let's get a word with Sam Mayer. Josh.
Yes, Sam Mayer checked a release from the care center. What did you see? What happened from your perspective there?
Just aggressive Martinsville racing, I suppose, but I can't say anything bad about JGR drivers, so let's keep it with myself, Martinsville, moving on, ready to go.
Thanks, Sam. Glad you're okay.
That was nice of him. He could have said something bad. We're on cable tonight.
He could have if he wanted to. I don't know.
Well, you go back to last year, and we know how that ended. He was fighting on the way with Ty Gibbs, and so maybe he just wants to let it lie and move on.
Well,
I don't believe that, but okay, we'll go with that double A.
well, anyways, outside of the drama, now we got new drama in front of us. Cole Custer on the front row on the outside of John Hunter. Sammy Smith from the second spot took the inside of the second row. Here we go, 19 to go.
18 laps left. Green flag back in the air. The dash for cash is on. Nemechek gets the launch. Cole Custer does not on the outside of the front row. Sammy Smith is going to be able to clear Custer for second place. And Justin Allgaier to the inside of the 00 now for third. Josh Berry just behind him in fifth. Berry moves down to the inside, trying to follow his teammate Allgaier, hoping that the 7 can pull clear. But it's going to be tough for the 7 as he's on much older tires. 40-lap older tires, in fact, on the rest of the field. Josh Berry on scuffs that only have a couple lap on their tires compared to the rest of the field. Still battling with Allgaier now. And Brandon Jones is right there with the other 2 JRM cars. Cole Custer hard into the back of the 18 car in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Making a little bit of contact as we have just 16 laps to go at the line. The 18 and the 00 slowly closing in on the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek, and we saw this just before the last caution came out as well. Nemechek got a good launch on the restart, but he wasn't able to pull away quite like he was pretty much all race long to this point. Sammy Smith and Cole Custer running some of their better laps of the race. On a more consistent basis, Sammy Smith has struggled on the long run speed though. So if it goes green to the very end, I think Cole Custer might have a better shot at trying to catch John Hunter than what Sammy Smith does. Cole clips a lot of the curb through turns 3 and 4, trying to get the drive off. He needed to get to the inside of the 18. Josh Berry to the inside of Justin Allgaier for fourth. They're a second and a half off the lead. Berry knows he's got a quick car. Needs to get by Allgaier quickly so he can have a shot to try to run down the leaders. Custer boots the 18 up the hill. Custer to second. Nemechek pulls away after that move was made. Custer trying to keep in front of the 18 car, not allow Sammy Smith to get back to his bumper. Did not happen there. Josh Berry finally got to clear Justin Allgaier for fourth place into the braking zone in turns 3 and 4. 12 laps to go at the line. Can Cole Custer run down John Hunter Nemechek? Nemechek looking for win number 2 on the Xfinity Series season. Custer looking for his first. Sammy Smith looking for his second. Allgaier sliding a lot off the exit of the corner on those rear tires. Brandon Jones going to sneak to the inside of him on the backstretch. They'll be side by side into 3 and 4. Contact made between the JRM Chevrolets. Allgaier really trying to hold the 9 tightly. Give him a little donut on the right side number of his race car. Sheldon Creed inside the top 10 for really the first time today as he has moved up to 7th off the restart, getting in front of Daniel Hemrick and Derek Krause, a couple of the colleague cars. Brandon Jones side by side with Allgaier a little bit more as they're still door to door for position and they're holding up a lot of the field behind him. Nemechek has led 188 laps and counting in this race. He is slowly getting away from Cole Custer once again. Josh Berry trying to run down the 3 cars in front of him. It's going to be very difficult. In these closing laps, we're down to just 9 to go. Jones and Allgaier have been side by side for 4th place. Make that 5th place for about 5 or 6 laps in a row now. For the most part, they're staying off of one another. 7's definitely holding the 9 tightly, and now he slides the rear tires a lot, and Jones finally clear. Allgaier was holding on to the outside for about 5 or 6 laps. Couldn't hold on anymore. Slid the rear tires. And the 9 car, Brandon Jones, was finally able to clear him. This would be the first top 10 for Brandon Jones this year. And obviously, first top 5 as well if he can hang on to that 5th place position. Should be able to drive away from the 7. And despite the battle that they have for position, they have pulled away from everybody else behind them. Major stack up where Sheldon Creed, Daniel Hemrick, Derek Krause, and Brett Moffitt are at in the back half of the top 10 position, 7 through 10. Cole Custer starting to run down John Hunter Nemechek on the corner entry. He's almost charging too hard. It looks like he's locking the front tires up just a little bit too much. Wheel hopped it into 3 and 4 that time, and John Hunter was able to pull away as he ran a little bit quicker of a lap time than Custer. Five laps to go this time by. Custer trying to maybe enter a little bit wider into the corner. Trying to help his drive off just a little bit versus John Hunter Nemechek. Custer a lot wider into the entry to turns 1 and 2. You can kind of see him skid mark the front tires again. He's pushing very, very hard right now, but he's just not able to close the gap. He's almost pushing it a little too hard as he slides the front tires. You can bet if he can get to the bumper of John Hunter Nemechek, he's going to use it, but I just don't think he's going to attempt to. This is the situation where if the Ross Chastain wall ride was still in play, Custer would definitely be in position to use it, but it's just not going to happen as that is now against NASCAR ruling. But he's definitely close enough to try it, as he's only about 0.6 of a second off the lead at the line with 3 to go, but he's still about 4 to 5 car lengths back. He's going to have to pick up the pace quite a bit these last few laps if he's going to want a chance to get to Nemechek. 0.8 of a second lead now as John Hunter was about 0.2 quicker than Custer that last lap. Sammy Smith closes the gap quite a bit on Custer for second. Sammy Smith's got a better chance at second than what Custer's going to have at the race win at this point. They get to the white flag. Next flag ends the race. Getting into turns 3 and 4 right now are the leaders. Nemechek off the exit at turn 4 will see the white flag. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. He's got a 0.9 of a second lead. Make that 1 second at the line. Sammy Smith still trying to charge hard for second place on Cole Custer, trying to get a 1-2 finish for JGR. He got a good run off turn 2. He'll have a chance at Custer into the final corner. Through 3 and 4, John Hunter Nemechek is going to win the race. Battle for second off of turn 4. It'll be Sammy Smith who's going to get it. I think he put the bump and run to Custer. And I think Custer barely got third place over Josh Berry. They were side by side. And it's a 1-2 finish for Joe Gibbs Racing. John Hunter Nemechek picks up his second win of the season. And that is the second race I predicted correct in the Xfinity Series this year. So pat myself on the back for that one. Margin of victory 1.5 seconds over Sammy Smith at second, who moved Custer out of the way there in the final corner of the race. Showing a replay of that. Custer held on to third. Sammy got to the inside. He actually hit the curb. He got to the inside. He hit the curb and then bounced up into the 0-0. And by inches, Custer beat Berry at the line for third. Nemechek burning it down on the front stretch. You'll get to hear from him as well as some of the other top finishers from today's race. We'll go through the full field running order once we get the interviews leading into the next commercial break for Fox. 2 hours, 12 minutes, 49 seconds total time on tonight's Xfinity Series race. 250 laps at Martinsville. Oh my gosh, big fire! Out of the back of the race car. Massive fire. I don't know if he knows it's on fire. Zane Smith did that in the truck race at Martinsville too. He's got to be careful getting out of there. I don't think he knew it was on fire. There are sparks all the way down the front stretch. Get out of there, John. Had some crew members as well as the AMR safety team trying to extinguish the car. Crowd loves it. They're insane, but they love it.
He's also your victor in the dash for cash. Give him $100,000.
Wow.
You talked about him having a second child. That would pay for some baby shoes.
Yeah, dash for cash winner as well as Nemechek, an extra $100,000 along with the trophy for that grandfather clock.
The marks on the racetrack on fire looked really, really cool.
Josh is there. Josh, do you have your fire suit on? I mean, it's dangerous, my man.
That's right, guys. John Hunter Nemechek literally burning it down out here. John Hunter Nemechek, talk about dominant. First of all, talk to me about that burnout right there.
Yeah, I'm just grateful for Pi Barker Fire and Safety. Martinsville Speedway actually uses Pi Barker Fire and Safety fire extinguishers. So thank you to them for
all part of the sponsor plug.
That amazing burnout that caught on fire. But I can't say enough about this whole team. If you would have asked me yesterday if we would have won, I thought we were 10th place car in practice. Didn't think we were very good. So just grateful that the guys made the right adjustments and gave me a Pi Barker Toyota GR Supra as fast as Xfinity 10G. So let's celebrate. I'm looking for my wife and Aspen. They're here. So we'll go celebrate with them. And Taylor, we got another grandfather clock to bring home.
And on top of that, dash for the cash winner as well. What does it mean to get that money on top of the win and the burn?
Man, I forgot about that, to be honest. I was just so focused on winning the race. So just can't thank everyone enough. Bart, everyone at Pi Barker Fire and Safety, everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing, Coach, Coy. I wish he was here to celebrate with us. But Jack Irving, I hope you're still here from Toyota. Tyler Gibbs, everyone, David Wilson, everyone at Toyota that has believed in me and given me this opportunity. And second win of the year, let's go in dominating fashion.
Congratulations, John Hunter.
Completing that Joe Gibbs Racing sweep of the front two, Sammy Smith gets by Cole Custer on the last lap. We saw you make some great moves out there tonight. What more did you need to catch up to your teammate, though?
Yeah, just a little bit more drive off. Congrats to them. They were the best car all night. I think we just needed a couple more adjustments to get our Pilot Flying J Toyota GR Supra in Victor Lane, but close. Just thanks to Pilot Flying J, TMC, All-State Peterbilt Group, Golden Harvest, Render Group, Sinclair Tractor, everybody that helps out, and we'll get them next week.
Thanks, Sammy.
We'll go through the full field finishing order. The 4 drivers, by the way, racing for the Dash for Cash at Talladega next week would include Cole Custer, Josh Berry, Sammy Smith, and John Hunter Nemechek, your top 4 finishers tonight. Nemechek wins the $100,000 for the Dash for Cash as well as winning the race, so an extra bonus check for him this weekend. This is his second win of the Xfinity Series season. He won back at Auto Club in race 2, and now wins tonight in race 8 at Martinsville. 1.5 seconds margin of victory, 59.27 miles per hour is the average race speed. Sammy Smith ends up finishing second tonight, Cole Custer third, Josh Berry fourth, and Brandon Jones ends up getting his first top 10 of the year, finishing fifth tonight. Justin Allgaier finishes 6th, Daniel Hemrick 7th, Derek Kraus 8th, Brett Moffitt 9th, and Chandler Smith finishes in 10th. 11th place was Daniel Hemrick, Derek Kraus, and Parker Retzlaff finishes in 11th. Ryan Truex 12th, Blaine Perkins 13th, Jeb Burton 14th, Kaz Gralla finishes 15th. 16th place was Parker Kligerman. Ryan C. Finishes 18th. Looks like they moved Austin Hill up a little bit there in the finishing order. Austin Hill 16th, Parker Kligerman 17th, and Ryan Sieg 18th. Josh Williams, who had a flat left rear tire, still came back to finish 19th. Jeffrey Earnhardt finishes 20th. Patrick Emmerling 21st, Matt Mills 22nd, Greg Golding 23rd, Anthony Alfredo 24th, and Leland Honeyman 25th. Alex LeMay 26th, Sheldon Creed, last car in the lead lap, spun on the last lap on the back straightaway after contact with Ryan Truex off of turn 2, was running 7th at the time, ended up finishing 27th. He was the last car in the lead lap. Ryan Ellis, first car lap down, finishes 28th. Brendan Poole 29th. Riley Herbst wrecked out late, unfortunately 30th after running top 5 most of the evening. Sam Mayer ends up finishing 31st. Jeremy Clements 32nd. Connor Mosack 33rd. Kyle Weatherman 34th. Kyle Sieg 35th. Dawson Cramp 36th. Joe Graff Jr. 37th. And Caden Honeycutt rounds out the 38-car field today. We had 6 different leaders today. John Hunter Nemechek led the most laps. 198 of 250 laps led today. Dominant performance for him. 9 lead changes with those 6 different leaders and a total tonight of 10 cautions. Actually, 9 cautions, technically. And they said that, I guess the caution came out on the final lap, too, as the leaders were crossing the start-finish line, but we had 9 cautions, by the way I look at it, so, in today's race. Pretty good race, I thought. Personally, one of the more fun Xfinity races I think I've watched this year. This and Las Vegas were probably the 2 favorites on my portion, or my belief, at least, based off of this year. And hopefully you enjoyed this live race commentary coverage. Once again, we will be live tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the NASCAR Cup Series race at Martinsville. So again, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Drop the green flag scheduled for 3:01. But we'll have our pre-race predictions, fantasy advice late, potential betting advice for late tomorrow as well. So you won't want to miss the start of the stream. Been on a hot streak so far this year, whether it's been picking either the winner, 3 winners correct already this year for me in the Cup Series, as well as just picking drivers to get in the top 10. Been really good with that. I think I'd have to go back and look. The last I remembered, I was like 18-5, and I don't think that was counting last week, so I think I'm 20-6. I'm picking top 10 finishers so far this year, so yeah, we'll see if we can keep the good streak going. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of your Saturday night. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Like and subscribe also for more daily NASCAR content. I didn't think I said that, but hit the like button. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Appreciate it, everybody.